What's up, everybody? What's going on? I am the Doc, live after a week in Tennessee. Thank you for joining. I am here in person. Thank you for understanding the delay. You understand that I was also blessed today to appear on Fox 2's Sports Office. So I was in Southfield, talked to Curtis Granderson. It was great. And I'll share a funny story later about Curtis Granderson. First things first, did you hear anything online about me? Let me tell you what happened. First and foremost, I am still a part of Detroit Lions on SI. I still, at this moment, am gainfully partnered with the greatest sports outlet ever. So until they tell me we don't want to partner with you anymore, things are good. But yes, drop the super chats because something did happen. It was wild. So do you want to hear about my vacation? Do you want to hear about my contact with the Detroit Lions? What happened? And quite frankly, look, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. There's no animosity. I'm not mad. I spoke to the person who made the decision. And I don't know if I'm going to take the high road per se. I don't know if he's watching. But he did say, I am going to obviously give the Lions PR some flowers, but they had a file on me. I didn't even know. The only thing that bothers me is it came out of the blue. Since 2019, 2020, when I first got the credential, the relationship between me and the Lions has been, I thought, professional. I thought if they had an issue early on, they messaged. And I've written 7,000 articles, 100,000 tweets since 2019, radio silence from the Lions. But obviously, the things that are said here, the things that are discussed on our platform at Detroit Podcast may not appeal to some. And I asked for the file. I said, what file? And they sent it to me. The doc files. They said, these are all your violations. I said, what? I said, that can't be right. I said, the doc file. I said, wait a minute. You got a file on me of all my transgressions? Why didn't you bring it to me? I'm a grown man. So let's break down what happened, okay? And look, I'm not bashing anybody. First and foremost, let me start with what happened. If you want to give a super chat to support the doc, I may need more of them. But I think, listen, first and foremost, you're always going to see a smile on my face, and I'm going to break it all down. Here's what has happened. I was on vacation last week, spending beautiful time with my family, reflecting on what it is I'm doing in the media, my journey as a psychologist. Am I happy? Am I blessed still? I feel good, look good. I felt like I was, 26 was my best year reporting, gaining more sources inside the Lions organization, outside the Lions organization, just steadily growing. And that's all I wanted to do was to actually become a reporter. I took on the role and I said, okay, you are in this position as a leader of a website. You should report on the Lions. You should tell it like you see it, speak your mind, and act the same way you've acted since 2013. If you think it, say it. Remove the filter, and whatever happens, happens. And for a good 13 years, it helped to build the Detroit Sports Podcast brand. Did I ever think the Lions would deny me a credential? I thought that they didn't view me favorably. I thought that they viewed me as somebody that was direct, blunt, and would challenge the way in which the traditional media handle things. But at 3:50, so I'm on vacation. It's beautiful. I'm preparing, working with Vito, Christian, and Emmett to prepare what we're going to cover for you fine people, the podcast, what happens. And It was great. A drive there, a drive back, beautiful time spent with family. I get home, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. It was an activity-based vacation. It wasn't like I could just sit on my ass. It was an activity-based vacation, and I had fun with my family. Detached a little bit. Vito, Christian, Emmett always dominate. 11:55, I'm almost passed out. I get a text message from Woody Woodruff. He's like, "You want to come on?" He's like, "I'm sorry to message you this late. You want to come on the podcast? Or you want to come on our television show?" I was floored because I never in a million years thought they'd put me on TV. And I said, "Yes. Yes." He's like, "We're going to talk Tigers baseball and we're going to have Curtis Granderson. I'd love for you to interact and come in." And Woody Woodruff has always been kind to us. Never treated us as an outsider. So I'm just, today I got to, you know, I got to spend time with my daughter playing soccer outside. Wrote a little bit, wrote my first story, obviously, about David Montgomery and the nonsense with Woodward Sports. So I'm getting back into the flow, ready to charge up because you get burnt out covering it the way in which I did it. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fire it up. I practiced soccer with my daughter for a good hour and a half, kind of getting gritty with her, like, don't miss the net. She's tough and she's ready to go to step up a little bit in level, and she's cool. So at 3:55, I checked my email because the Lions put out the credential request to cover the team this year a little bit later. This year, it was on Monday. I sent it to my editor. I said, "Hey, please put in the request for John Maakaron and Emmett Matisovsky, please, as the backup." I should have asked fully for Emmett to be a credentialed media reporter, but who knows? I didn't know how they felt about me. I kept really, and I'll go through it. My relationship with the Lions really distant in terms of the PR, really distant, and it's not going to help me when they're reviewing my situation. So, but I always wanted this to be a benefit to Emmett. I have a friend also who's also a photographer that was blowing up my DMs trying to get So, I was just looking for the credential for myself to cover the team, to get access for this year, which has always never been through me. It's always been through on Sports Illustrated. So at 3:55 today, here's what happened. At 3:55, I get the email from the Lions PR. And I'll read it to you. I mean, there's no really need to be secret because, you guys are going to find out I'm not going to be there. So credential notice, 3:55. Please be advised that beginning with 2026 training camp, the Detroit Lions will no longer provide media credentials for Lions on SI. This applies to all credentialed Lions football events at Ford Field and the Meyer Performance Center in Allen Park. As a reminder, each NFL media credential is a revocable license, and there is no guarantee or expectation of renewal season to season. Either the NFL or the Lions may revoke or withhold the media credential at its sole discretion. I read that, and I honestly, guys, I swear to God, I felt a little sense of relief. Like a little bit of tension left my body. I was like, shit. Does that mean I don't have to drive the 45 minutes every day, battle traffic to get down there? I was like, wow. And so a little relief sent. But then I'm like, wait a minute. I haven't done anything. I've just been myself. I do a lot of interviews. I talk about the team. I critique the team. I'm brash. I'm like, you know what? Let's just call up PR and first and foremost, I called up PR and I had a conversation. It was respectful, no yelling, it was cordial. I wished the man a blessing to his family. So let's back up. And of course, we're going to get your reaction, and who knows what's going to come of this. Who knows if Lions NSI is going to keep me? I don't know. But from what I talked to them, they seem to love me. They seem to like me. So I had the conversation. So first and foremost, if they're watching, I want to give and I said it on the voicemail because the Lions PR gentleman, Mr. Eamon Reynolds, left a voicemail. He called me back. I said to him humbly, thank you, first of all, in 2019 for credentialing me. I'm a podcaster. I'm not a trained journalist. I am a podcaster. I'm a broadcaster. I use my words. I state my opinions. Some things make me happy. Some things don't. But in this media landscape, it didn't take me long in 2013 to realize to stick out, you cannot be just another face in the crowd. You cannot just be a regular Joe Blow. You have to say something. You have to be bold. You have to speak your mind. You have to say and debate and talk and interact with your audience. So that's the attitude I took. Brash, unabashed, no apologies. If I think it, I say it. Because also, you guys got to realize, I also have a thriving psychology practice. So there really was never really a care in the world about the credential at first. And I, in 2019, accepted a partnership with Detroit Lions on SI to cover the Lions. And I told on SI that when I told on SI, I am not a writer. I am a podcaster. I have bold opinions, and I'm unabashed. I do not care. I go, I have a practice. I have a life. I have a livelihood. And they said, how did you grow something? I said, I'm a stand-up guy. I talk to my audience. I'm accountable to my audience. And they said, let's turn you into a reporter, and let's work with you to use your skills and who you are, and let's work with you and grow. So 2019, I was raw, and I did some things that exactly the way in which I did it was not exactly correct. And the Lions called me out on it. They messaged me, and I said, I understand. And luckily, On Sports Illustrated had my back. They told the Lions, wait a minute. John is just simply aggregating a story. He's not making anything up. He is following what is known as aggregating. He credited who we got it from. We know where it is. And because other people glammed onto it, it's not John. It's not Sports Illustrated reporting anything. It's John aggregating a story. He properly credited, and they stood up for me. And I was very humbly thankful for On Sports Illustrated supporting me. But the Lions didn't like the noise that was being created from the outside. They didn't like it. I understood. That was probably something that was not going to be in my benefit to do the things that I was doing in my way. But in the end, what I want you, the audience, to know is that all I ever did was ask the questions that came to my mind that I thought you would want to know. Unabashed, brash. And, on social media, I took the attitude of, if I think it, I'm just going to tweet it. And whatever happens, happens. I cannot help myself because it was successful. It put me in that position. It was never to be harmful. It was never to be sensational. It was the idea of, this is what I think. And I think over time, based on the losing and what's happened with the team, the Lions did not like the manner in which I present myself on social media, on podcasts, the happiness, the entertainment, the willingness to say what I think. So they don't want me around. And every year I was thankful. I said, thank you guys for putting me there. So thank you, Eamon Reynolds, for first opening the door. And me and Mr. Eamon Reynolds had a conversation. It was cordial. I'm a nice guy. I'm easy to talk to. How many times since 2019 did you, Mr. Eamon, come talk to me about my behavior? 0. So I look at it like, man, you got national media hosts, you got your partners, you got people talking way worse than how I was acting. So I never looked at it like, I felt like, okay, you're at the line. I never thought I would, I never felt I crossed it. I always felt like it was direct, and it was, this is what your fan base is thinking. This is what we're asking about. This is what we're talking about. This is what it is. So the decision was made. And maybe our style of podcasting, bold, direct, sarcastic, entertaining, does not align with what the Lions are looking for in coverage. So there's only, we had a conversation. It was great. They have decided to not credential me. I'm still employed. I still can write. I still can do the podcast. I'm still currently associated with On Sports Illustrated. For how long? Who knows? Given the circumstance, I don't know. But I think I do the job well enough where there's an audience. And maybe the audience got too big and too loud. And I don't know. But the two things I have a personal issue with, and I'm going to say it right into the microphone, that I disagreed with, and I told Eamon directly. One, I just think I could have been owed a heads up. John, listen, we understand you're building something. You're on the radio. We understand you have a radio partner and have the loudest voice in Metro Detroit, bashing the team, giving his opinion, being sarcastic, doing bits. He reaches 500,000 people, similar to the reach we have on a weekly basis. Him is on a daily basis. Hey, we don't like this. I looked at it like, well, they've got some thick skin. They're taking the criticism, because I also, in the time I was reporting, also reported on the team. I wrote stories. I did features. I broke news. I did the other side to complement the unabashed, bold opinions and the wild antics that were going on. And look, I took at it like I'm going to treat this as a fan doing a website. And they said to me over the phone, they said, your social media platform is sensationalized and you behave in an unprofessional manner. And I disagreed vehemently with that. That's the only thing that bothered me. That's the only thing that stings to the heart to me. They said I was unprofessional. The Lions felt my behavior in the way in which I reported to you guys, the audience, was unprofessional. So, is it shocking? No. Did I piss off Dan Campbell? Maybe. Did I upset the apple cart? I did my job. I did my job. I upset the apple cart. I'm no kiss ass. I report to you guys, the audience. I report to Emmett Matisovsky, Vito Churko, and Christian Boer. And that's all I cared about. But the one thing you're not going to call me is unprofessional to my face. Brash, unabashed, open-minded. And I would have worked with them if they would have said something. I thought they were like, okay, this is a fan. He's talking. You don't think people say worse than what I was saying on the internet? All I was saying was the team is not dedicated to winning at the level I think they should. I think the team could do different things. I debated the fans that called me clickbait. I was never sensationalized. Yeah, the job requires you to get attention. But I think if you looked outside of a headline, and I hope the Lions did that, you saw the words on that paper were factually accurate, entertaining, interesting, and thought-provoking. You don't want that delivered to your audience? No problem. No problem whatsoever. I respect Eamon Reynolds for making the decision. Maybe it's too loud. Maybe it's not sanitized. Maybe I don't want to be your partner. Eamon, I don't want to be your partner. You know, you're a partner with Fox 2. You're a partner with the radio station. You're a partner. You have enough partners. I just want to be an independent voice talking about the team in a bolder way. And if you just would have came to me and said, hey, man, you know, these are some things that we don't like. I never heard a word after 2020. Not one single word. Not a word. And if you think that I would have just kept acting that way without a little bit of like, hey, we don't like it. I thought they were like, you know what? We've got 1,000 people talking like John. I'm just one of 1,000 people that will critique the Lions. And I don't think, if you guys want to point it out, if you guys say I did these things that you didn't like and you point it out, then I humbly apologize. But there is no way I will sit here and accept being called unprofessional. That's not going to happen. I'm not unprofessional. Every month, I've treated the job with the respect that it deserved. And I just said things that were, I think, in a way bolder, more opinionated, and just in regards to the defense of the opinions that we had. And you got to also remember, the fans here are also rugged. They would call me a liar. They would call my reports fake. You know, the media in town collectively gathers, and some of them just disregarded the reports that we had that were 99.9999% accurate. So that's the story. The Detroit, what do you guys think? Did you, and if you follow me at Detroit Podcast, did I act unprofessional? That's the first question, because I account to you. The Lions can make their decision. I respect it, and I disagree with it. I think they're censoring a voice that you guys like and you guys respect. By and large, it was 100 emails I'd get. 96 of them were like, thank you. Just keep asking the good questions. So it wasn't coming from me. It was coming, the questions that I asked came from you guys. So I thank you. Y'all got me whacked. But the social media antics, I don't know what they are. You know, what I do is I defend my points vehemently. I go online and I'm sarcastic. And maybe some of the, I think maybe what I can own up to is some of the jokes, like, you know, Sheila Ham call, you know, the jokes online that are clearly jokes. Maybe it just fell on deaf ears. So let me catch up on some super chats. I humbly appreciate it. Mishanuga, I want to give it the respect it deserves. $4.99. Let's go, Doc. Favorite day of the week. It's my favorite day too. I was on television. Ain't that a bitch? I was on television and the Lions cut me off. What do you guys think? Did I deserve to get cut off? If you go and I'll accept from you guys a analysis of the Twitter page. But the Twitter page, if you ask me about it, it was just my thoughts as it happened. And if the Lions don't like it, I have to accept it. But the Lions cut out a voice that you guys liked. They cut me out without a single warning. They never, after 2019, they warned me. They said, John is aggregating from places we're not sure of. And also, I think he said the editorial choices, what I was writing about, maybe they didn't like the content that I chose. But guess what? I own it. Every single headline that you saw for 7,000 articles was approved by me. 7,000 articles. How many of them theoretically do you think were not up to par for the Lions? 15, 10, 5? A whole, here's the folder. Docs file. You think I'm going to go through all this? They have a file on me. I said, a file? A file? What the hell? I didn't do anything. I said, the doc has a file. You might want to share it with me. You know, I could have stopped it, but a file. I thought that my coverage and my opinions were very similar to those that were doing it at a much bigger level than me. They cut out the doc and denied me. So on Wednesday, I was ready to go. 8 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, I had a list of 10 questions for Dan Campbell. I will not get to do it. And I will miss that. I will miss the chance to ask on your behalf if it ends. And if it hurts Vito, Christian, or Emmett, I'll be crushed. But I think this is a good thing. Saves me time, saves me gas, saves me money. We shall see. Let's go, Doc. We are back live. Like I said, if this ends up hurting those three in any way, I'll be sad. For me, don't worry about the Doc. We got a super chat, $1.99. Smokey. I should, right? Upside, you don't have to pull punches on your coverage now. Mistake on their part. Not many people willing to ask the tough question from Mr. Poole. Onward, Doc. That's it. Onward. We go forward. I just don't think I'm unprofessional. Maybe that's the sickness in my brain. To give your opinion, that's what I think. And I'll tell people to their face, I don't like some things you say about me or how you act towards me or how you treat me, and we go forward. Thank you. $9.99 super chat. Last year, you asked some tough questions to John Morton after the Green Bay opening day loss. I remember JM getting agitated as you kept pressing him. That's what you're supposed to do. God, I just when he said that, I defended it. And he said, I don't like that word. And you know, we talked about it, but that's the only two things I have to defend. You cannot call me unprofessional. I showed up there every single time. You got some media members calling themselves beat writers that don't show up there, and I'm unprofessional. There are some media members calling themselves beat writers that show up once a year. I showed up there 98% of the time to get as much information as possible for you guys. But, you know, in the end, did I think eventually one day, like I said, I joked about it that the key card wouldn't work. I figured one day that something would come up where they'd have a meeting with me, maybe a suspension, a warning. But to go from 2019 credentialed to today, they just decided, you know what, that guy's act is not worth it anymore. Mishanuga, you have the best training camp coverage. Well, thank you. That means a lot. Like I said, I peaked for what my level of comfort will be. I did the reporting job. I feel like I was a good reporter and a good podcaster. Was I a good journalist? Hell no. I was a fucking terrible journalist. But I think the principle is if you have a journalist who runs the PR and a bunch of room full of journalists, and the guy on the outside probably is like, that whole field is a cockamamie bullshit field, maybe that is going to maybe rub some people the wrong way. You know, you can't really say it that way, but listen, we all know the deal. It's sanitized coverage. There's a lot of partnerships. It's not true journalism anyway. So what's my violation? I might have to say in the microphone, I might be the last true journalist that covered the Lions. I had no attachments to the Lions. I never took a football from the Lions for charity. I don't think I took anything other than food. I think. I walked in. The only thing I could have been better, and I humbly regret it, I could have been nicer to the PR staff, but I felt like I was a nuisance. You know, I felt like they got enough headaches to deal with from the reporters that are forced to text them every single day. I figured one extra text from me was not going to suffice. So I didn't confirm nothing. Like maybe in the last 2 years, I started to ask more questions because I always just felt like it was a bother. You know, they're probably besieged by media requests. What do they need it from me for when the media is writing 6 things I can confirm it? So that's the only regret I have is I could have, followed a couple tenets of journalism better. But like I said, I am not a journalist. And in the end, I think that's, in my opinion, where it's always going to be that divide. I am not a journalist. I'm a guy that gives an opinion, and I'm a podcaster. And I'm a semi good comedian, like sarcastically, provocateur, maybe. But I don't feel like it was sensationalistic. I felt like, hey, this is something that is related to the topic at hand. You're going to read it, you're going to be informed. So maybe it was. And I just can't see it because I don't have that lens. I don't know. I have the lens of being a podcaster and 3 journalists who wrote with me and never took me aside and said, hey, change this, did this, do this. So they never led me to say something different. But I want your honest opinion. Am I unprofessional? Am I just, a guy that spouts off at the mouth and doesn't think before he speaks and it finally caught up to him? Maybe. But, I could put myself in Eamon's shoes and say, that guy is too hot for us. That guy will start to ask questions more and more that we don't like. No, look, support the others. They're doing a good job. They're put in a much different spot than I am. I'm in charge for whatever happens. Thank you for the continued super chats. All right, let me get to you guys. Thank you for listening in. And the one thing I will miss, the one thing that I will be sad about is maybe I won't get to meet Mr. Mahdi. That'll, if he was in Germany, I'm not going to get to meet him. They booted me from the building. I felt I earned a spot, and I think I did a good job for you people. But I can see truly where the other side is going to look at me and go, we don't need that. We don't need it. I just would have liked the professional courtesy of, hey, along the way once, I'm not really liking your flow. Because I always looked at it like I felt like there was way worse on the internet than comparable with the audience that I got that was similar. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I was the loudest of the loudmouths. Phil C, which edge rush, and we'll talk football here in the second half here too, but I want to see what you guys think about it. Are you still going to support the project? Should I still do a daily podcast if I'm just one beat behind everybody else that's actually there? I'm not going on the roof. I'm happy. Like I said, the only thing I'm concerned about is if anything has affected the 3 journalists that are here, I will be upset at what I did. Ryan Anton, good to see you in here. I don't know, a lot of people in Lions media say things I'm sure they don't like, and they still have credentials. Yeah, I would like to know the sensationalized headlines they didn't like. I just would like to would have I thought once we cleared 2019 and the early bumps in the road, that I actually thought we were good. I was semi good with the Lions. They know, okay, look at this guy, but he's a fan. He's a former season ticket holder. He represents a segment of the population that is critical, loud, and wants winning at a faster pace. And will come in here and ask. And I thought, let's say over the 6 years I asked Dan Campbell, if I asked him 500 questions, I think I asked him 497 good ones. Maybe 3 differently. You didn't like the one that was the loudest? I apologize for that. Unprofessional. That's a joke. Lion Syndicate, you may be wearing a button up when I got on the show. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Syndicate, for your support. It means a lot. I just don't think I maybe I need to understand that side of it from the other side. This is professional. Like I said, this was my first opportunity. This is the first real credential I had. So, maybe they just said, okay, we're going to keep extending the rope in 2021. And remember, too, I covered the team in a time when there was COVID. 2021, 22. They just kept saying, they never said anything. So I thought, okay, they're good. I'm good. I never thought that they had a problem. I said hi to them all the time. We talked. I asked about their families. Sensationalized and unprofessional. Maybe that will be the reputation I ended up cultivating, but I don't care what they think. Truly, I just I care what you guys think, and if you support it, I'll keep doing it because I think they misunderstood the voice in the room. The more I talk about it, they misunderstood who I was, what my mission was, what my thought process was. They misunderstood. And I could see it. I could see they could, from their side, I can respect that they see a loudmouth guy making a name for himself, trying to get over, covering the Lions. And they don't want that. I look at it like a raw reporter who turned himself into a good interviewer and turned himself into a diligent reporter who put the Lions' feet to the fire and said, hey, I don't think you're on the path to winning. And here's why. And along the way, I conveyed it a multitude of different ways: jokes, sarcasm, wild opinions. But everything I typed, I felt I believed in. And I think you guys too. You resonate. That's why we got almost 1,000 people in here on on a on an average Thursday. Hit the like button for me. Oh, Brett Holmes is watching. If Brett Holmes is watching, it was an honor to cover you. I think you're the best general manager to come here, but your job's not done. Your resume to me is blank. We use soccer terms. Sometimes different terms are used. If I'm talking to Brett Holmes directly, here's what it is. You're the best general manager the Lions have ever had, but your account is blank to me. And I hope one day you fill that account. And you have a chance to. But I have my doubts in the next couple year window that this run of talent will get the job done. Your trophy case is empty, and I hope you deliver for these fans. And maybe, because I look at it as a joke too. I was bad luck, and I'm the final straw. This is the year they win the Super Bowl because they cut out the doc. I would take it. Cut out the Doc, win the Super Bowl. I'll retire a happy man. They am I the bad man of the media? Maybe. Don't change, Doc. Matter of fact, critique them more. I'm not changing anything. As long as I'm in charge of Lions Honest. Actually, you want to do it live? I emailed a couple bosses. They said so far so good. So maybe they're having a meeting about me. We'll see. Training camps next week. I still believe I'm part of On Sports Illustrated. Nobody has said anything differently. The readership is good. And yes, try Pride of Detroit. It's very nice. Other than their little bit of time that they maybe from that angle, maybe they view it as competition, not including me in certain things. But yeah, check out Pride of Detroit. I like their shows. Ryan Matthews, 7861. Is this the Ryan from Pride of Detroit? But Pride of Detroit's on the other side of it's a fan site. It's a fan driven site. Doc, nobody likes criticisms. That means you are over the target. Yeah. Listen, I don't even think I criticized them in a way that was different than anybody else. It was unabashed. Are you on the path to win a Super Bowl? Or are you not? That was it. But yeah, unprofessional. Maybe, like I said, this was the first media job this is the first credential I ever had on a full time basis. So I could claim ignorance because I don't even know what that means. Other than I ask questions, bold and direct. And I think the one aspect that, maybe if they say down the road in 10 years, maybe you should think before you type. But listen, maybe they realize how much money I was making. They're like, shit, that guy can't make more than the media. But let me say this unabashed if any media members are watching. The media business is, and if you're a journalist, I respect the field of journalism, but if you want to stay relevant with money in your pocket, you have to have an opinion. You have to just look at it from the perspective of you can go a lot of different ways. You can be a newspaper guy and make 100 grand a year and have a great life, or you can be Pat McAfee, be a little entertaining, a little risque. You can make 60 million. Okay, it's all your lane. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm ever going to get to the $60 million range, but the good Lord blessed me with the way in which I was rewarded was an opportunity to support 3 journalists and to do the things that were possible. So again, if you felt like I was unprofessional, I truly apologize. I have a smile on my face. The only thing that will bother me is if the 3 journalists who are with me are affected or if I'm dismissed because of my behavior. But I'm glad, like I said, if maybe this can be positive because there's a lot of rules that they follow, that they got a lot of rules out there. They got a lot of rules. And I don't even know. Like I said, I don't even know now how many of them I followed or didn't follow. They never told me. Syndicate is about to opine about the Doc. And I think you'll support me in the fact that all a brother needed was just hey, the rope is about to tie out. Calm down. But they're like, here's enough rope. No. Anthony Berardi. Well, you're no Michael Hara, but I myself enjoy listening to you. Of course, I don't know what you did, but I assume you didn't kill anyone at least. Exactly. I just, if you ask me, what did I do? What was it? Okay, obviously, I pressed Dan Campbell in a question that was worded horrifically. But let me tell you something. Now that I don't have a credential, I'll tell you. Listen, Jared Goff and John Morton, and like I said, stuff enters your brain. John Morton and Jared Goff didn't get along, and it happened pretty fast. We all knew it in the media. So, my question simply was, your offense didn't look the same week one. Your pre-snap motion numbers, I don't know, didn't seem like you're running it the same way. Can you run your offense from last year? Now, in some way, I threw in because Jared Goff was on the radio. The only thing I regret is I should have just cut that line out because once I said Jared Goff communication, Dan Campbell's vibe changed. I should have just cut that out. Jared Goff went on the radio and said, we're changing up the communication. Things are changing a little bit. So that was my in to say things are changing with your offense. Why change a great offense? If you were part of the reason that Ben Johnson was part of the team, you know his offense run the same thing. It was successful. So that was kind of the vibe. I didn't say it exactly correctly, but hey, it's the first week. You don't get a training camp in the media. But he got the message, and everybody knew it. The offense wasn't good enough week one, and it was chaotic, and there were issues. So it just needed to be asked, maybe even with less words. But I was trying to kind of, in my work, start to explain my questions a little more, other than just be so direct. Like, Dan, your offense wasn't great. What happened? I tried to go and, well, Jared said that the communication was different. And we went down that road. But listen, it's fine. I'm curious what you guys think. Did I conduct myself on social media? And a lot of it probably has to do with the Twitter page. It's a wild, listen, Twitter's a cesspool, so you act that way. My Twitter page is wild. And it's probably wilder than anybody else's because I own it. Did the Lions make the right call? Did the Lions correctly dismiss a media member? Doc pissed off Dan Campbell the first week. Then the Lions tuned in and got more pissed off each week of the season. Doc was cut last year. It was announced now. No. I got the email at 3:55 today. We applied Monday. I was prepared. The Lions want biased media that they can control. The Doc was not that. Nah, listen, I really don't think a lot of it was, listen, I don't think a lot of it was the in-person behavior. It's the jokes, it's the sarcastic comments, it's the stuff that I put on X that is gonna, just for some people, is going to be looked at in a way that's not great. It's the antics, it's the things you say, it's the jokes, you know. Did the Doc blow it? Like I said, I mean, the best way to put it is, yeah, I wrote it right. Detroit Lions on SI denied access to the Lions. Look at that. It's vacation mode. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, the site's called Detroit Lions on SI. I was denied access to training camp. They have yanked the credential. Now, look, I'm a bad man. I got my credential. I'm a bad man. They probably were like, what's he gonna do to handle this? It's like, come on, I'm just gonna talk about it, be open, honest, and tell you, would I like a credential? Yeah. Am I terribly upset that this happened? Quite frankly, like I said, my honest feeling was relief. That drive was brutal for me. That reporting, like I said, reporting was tough. I can do the job maybe even better, faster for you guys. Ah, am I unprofessional? Shout out, Caleb. Shout out to you, brother. Lesson learned. If you want a credential, do not act like how I do. Angel Monson 90. Good to see you. I don't agree with unprofessional. You asked questions we were curious about. Like I said, I just feel like the vibe of that word was more toward the social media antics, the poking the bear, the jokes, the the tweets that would start off with for example, I love the Jim Rome bit where you'd have the person sign off on an email. I got that from Jim Rome. I love that. I was impressionable. You know, for example, if the Chiefs have struggles with their cornerbacks, the tweet I would say simply is, "Man, the Chiefs don't know how to draft cornerbacks." Signed, Brad Holmes. And I would, make jokes, sarcastic references, and I would do the "I'm hearing," but it was so nonsensical. You knew it was fake. And again, I never misled anybody. I put entertainment in my Twitter bio. Thank you. Detroit fan man. Can't wait to go to training camp and just ask, "Where's Doc?" loudly. Thank you. And I just think that, like I said, I just think that that's wrong from the principal fact that, maybe I should have been smart enough to know that eventually they would say, "We're sick of you too. We're sick of you." Am I the bad man of the media? I don't know. Maybe I am unprofessional. Like I said, if you tell me I'm unprofessional, maybe it was. Yeah, no, no. I feel like that's what made me. This is what actually today, thank you, Detroit Lions. Today, I became a journalist. The job of a journalist, from what I understood it to be, is to ask and to learn and to do things that they don't want. Today, I became a journalist. Thank you, Lions. You stamped it. We don't want you. We don't want your type, your style. Today, I never put myself on the level of journalists ever. And remember, I had a big budget. Okay. And first of all, let me tell you, Lines, thank you again, Eamon. You put a lot of money in my pocket. You put a lot of money in my family's pocket by giving me the credential. So all this is great. I made a lot of money, a lot of it. It wasn't difficult for me to figure out the avenue. I figured out what fans enjoy. They enjoy honesty, debate, learning what the team wants, a little sarcasm, a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of boldness, and I did the job. And I got to support 3 journalists for 9 years. So I'm very happy for that. Never late. I don't think I fired anybody, although I should have. I never fired anybody. And my vision is for those 3 guys, So thank you again, Lions, for the credential. But I feel like it was a blessing in disguise. The good Lord does not make things happen that aren't supposed to happen. I was supposed to go on TV today, and the Lions were supposed to do that. Everything happens for a reason. And I was very proud to defend myself and very proud of the work that we did. I still get to wear this logo for as long as possible. And I think, you know, I think the way I look at it from a hopeful, positive perspective is the Lions said, listen, we need a break. You are not like any of the others. And no, I'm not. I am not. Um, I don't align with what they do. I don't necessarily ascribe to what some of them do. And I looked at it like I just wanted to stay in my lane and kind of do what I needed to do. And it lasted for, maybe 5 years longer than it deserved to be. But I do know that the fans that supported understood the concept, understood what was going on, and understood that I was the conduit. I was a direct conduit from the fan to Dan Campbell and the Lions. And the Lions cut it out. And in the end, for the next guy, not for me. Listen, I'm blessed. God gave me good looks, a big brain, and a good heart, and a good coping skill, and maybe a naivete to not know these things finally. But, aiming for the next guy. If you see a guy hanging himself, maybe literally, if you see a guy pulling the rope off the mountain, maybe give him a chance to say, hey, don't like jump off the mountain. An email, a text. Hey, What is this about? You did it right away in 2019. I felt like I was worth it for a warning or a message or a discussion from 2020 to 2026. That's 6 years. That's 6,000 articles and 100,000 tweets. And I sit here today going, I can't pinpoint anything that is not really either clownish or a story. So I looked at it like two things. Okay, this is clearly an entertaining tweet. This is nonsensical. This is entertainment for his social media. And this is a story he's writing on the website. And I will put that website up against any of them in town. Go read it. Tell me anything sensationalized, or when you clicked on it, it wasn't related to the headline. Sensationalized. I don't know. But I will say this, okay? I earned my journalism stripe today because I wrote things and said things the Lions didn't like. And that's really the job. They didn't like it. And they're not supposed to. Because there's critiques, there's some entertainment involved, there's some opinions. So, and I blame Booner. I think once they saw, holy crap, he goes on Woodward Sports, we got to cut him off. Like I said, man, didn't I deserve like a text? Hey, I felt like I deserved one text. I got it in 2019. That when I first started, they watched. After that, nothing. We don't like this. So I think in the end that the thesis you would say is they don't like the project, that they don't like the fact that an independent guy owns it, runs it, does it, and works with a team to make it as good as possible, but that maybe they don't like the autonomy that I have, or the way in which I was messaging myself or projecting myself. I don't know. All I know is, guys, if you're listening, media, if you're listening, there is money to be made to be entertaining, bold, and to speak your truth in your heart. There's money to be made. So please go make it. Stop crying me a river about your journalism and your newspapers dying. There's money to be made if you know how to market yourself, be honest, tell the truth, be bold, be direct, and don't shy away from being like a Stephen A. and a Pat McAfee. They share their opinions and they're entertaining. Who wouldn't model that? You want me to model after a journalist who cries and loses their job? And what did you want me to do? Grow a beard and move to Germany like a couple beat writers did? Okay. If you want to know the genesis of why I acted that way, my predecessors, I saw, I'm like, dude, these guys look miserable. A Lions beat writer quit the beat and went to Germany. A Tigers beat writer quit the beat and went to Malta or smoked a bunch of weed and wrote a book. So I saw pretty clearly these journalists look miserable. I spent a year looking at miserable journalists and said, what the hell's wrong with these journalists? They all look miserable. I'm just a human being. I go, I don't want to do that. And I just took the other side and said, I want to be happy. I want to laugh every day. I want to be sarcastic. I want to be creative. And I want to do that. So that's what I did. And I'm very proud of where that went. I just wish, like I said, all I could ever ask for is to be just a simple text, man. Hey, what you're doing is going to, like, maybe he's like, you know what? He's a grown man. He'll figure it out that it would be. I never thought they'd do it. I just thought that they would just pull me aside one day and say, hey, all right, man, Dan doesn't like this. We don't like this. There was nothing. They just cut you. That's how, hey, fans, all I can say is that's how they treat a conduit to you guys. They just cut them out. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate it. Drew was an editor of ours. And also, too, here's the crazy part. Everything along the way until today has been positively reinforced. Drew was an editor at the Oakland Press. He was tasked with reading our content when we partnered with the Oakland Press. First of all, the newspaper said, okay, let me let you in, guys, on some more inside stuff. The newspaper said, John, look, we're having tough times financially. We'd like your content. But financially, we can't really do a whole heck of a lot with that in terms of giving you money. But we can give you exposure. We can put your name out there, and we will print your work. We like your work. I said, listen, guys, I said to the paper, a different editor. I don't know if Drew knows this. I said to them, listen, I am a little different. I am not a journalist. I am a guy with an opinion. I'm a podcaster. I'm independent. I don't know if my stuff is going to fly with your people. I don't want to cause any ruffles. They said, no problem. And what is it now? This is 7 years with the Oakland Press. Regular content, honest. If my stuff was unprofessional, why did the paper pick it up? And if my stuff is unprofessional, why did the newspaper, 19 websites put my videos all over the place? Why is my stuff syndicated on MSN and 19 different websites? Why is my stuff aggregated at the level that it is? If you just want to stick to the website, you could have messaged me and just said, hey, the social media is not in line with NFL standards. And maybe it should be. Maybe my stuff should be in line. It's fun. It's interesting. And that's I conveyed that in maybe a piss poor way to Eamon, but that's what I said. In so many words, I said, listen, I have a line to walk and I got to do what I got to do. And I probably said that and conveyed it, but now I'll convey it. I acted how I acted to do what I needed to do to keep a strong fellowship, to not have the same problem as the newspapers, and to keep my three guys employed. And I'll fall on the sword. It's on me. I portrayed Detroit Sports Podcast on X. We had a good time, and it was cool. And like I said, even though this happened, I can walk away with a huge smile on my face. Dude, they took my credit. They yanked it. They threw me out. So when you think of Doc, think of the guy from Fresh Prince when DJ Jazzy Jeff gets flown out the door. That's the lasting legacy that you can have with me, and I'll be happy with that. Oh, my God. Listen, Drew Ellis edited our stuff, and he's a kind-hearted man. I feel so bad for Drew. Maybe those early articles, he's like, who the hell gave this guy a job? But no, I do it for the fans. There's 1,000 people here listening to what happened. Yeah, if you're veering close to the edge, let me know. And I'm proud of the features I did. I'm not a features writer. I did a feature on Ahmed Hassanin. I did a feature on a room in the facility. I'm not a features writer. I have no idea that concept. I just knew that you could tell interesting stories via podcast. That's what I wanted to do. But I was very proud of the interview I did with Amik Robertson and all the player interviews that aired. I'm very proud of. So it wasn't completely one-sidedly funky. But hell, man, I walk away with my head held high. If that's it, and also too, I'm the bad boy of the media. Do I even want a credential? Do I even want to grace them with my presence anymore? I got an office. I got 2 beautiful kids. Amen, brother. You might not ever hear from me again, but I still, God bless you and your family. You did a lot for me. You did a lot. You never had to open the door. And maybe some of you will argue you never should have opened that door, but you did. And thank you, brother, for what you did. By and large, the whole experience for 8 years, fucking amazing. I got to talk to Dan Campbell, Matt Patricia, talk to the players, be a regular Joe in the media. Regular Joes maybe don't fit there. They need the stuffy, hey, they need the partners. I ain't that. I'm a grown man with an opinion, and I'm loyal to my fans. I'll fall on the sword for the fans. I ain't a stuffy journalist, and trust me, when you say, well, you attack journalists, well, trust me, the journalists weren't all that nice to me. Some were, some weren't. But you can, maybe now that I'm not a credentialed media, maybe now the reporters there will add me to the group chat where they were talking about me. Maybe then now they'll be, a little bit different. But it was cool. I was friendly with those I wanted to be friendly with, and I was nasty to those that I wanted to be nasty with. And you know who you are. So I learned to play to be a reporter, to cover news, to break news. And remember too, hell, maybe now that I'm not credentialed, maybe more people inside the organization will talk to me on an open basis. Because a lot of those conversations were, yeah, I can tell you, but you can't report it. Maybe now I can report it. So it's fun. Listen, again, if you look at this, I would say, are the Lions censoring the media? I think they made a mistake in how they handled it. I think that they don't understand the force of what's about to happen with content creators, with those. There are going to be, and I think it's the last, I'm sorry, Eamon, it's the last vestige of the last 10 people you got there covering it. In the next 20 years, all the people in that room are going to be me. And I'm sorry to tell you, brother, because I'm telling you now, if you become a journalist, you're going to be at the behest of editors that don't know anything, that don't know how to run a business, that will buy and sell you and quickly flip you for a guy that'll do the job for a nickel. It is better to do it yourself, grow a following, and have someone come by you, in my opinion. Steve, they don't credential me because the doc is the bad man of the media. Vato loco. They say, look at that guy. He's crazy. They say, we don't need people like him. We need kiss asses. And how many of them you need? 40, 50, 60, 70? You got your television. You got a couple guys on the radio. You got how many kiss asses you need, brother? 90? But no, in the end, I get it. I get it. Vito works in PR. I get it. I 100% get it. How many kiss asses do they need? 200, 300, 400? All of them. Remember, guys, ESPN and the NFL Network are now partnered. Everybody's a partner. Everybody's part of the family. I read it earlier. They said, as of August of 2026, we will not credential Detroit Lions on SI for as of 2026, the Lions will no longer credential Detroit Lions on SI for anything media related. Thank you. Exactly. I'm just a regular guy. And like I said, I don't even think my shtick, my entertainment was anything crazy. It was just jokes and sarcasm and witty. I thought it was witty and clearly nonsensical, clearly funny. But I will say this, it was a nice fine line. The Twitter page was crazy, but Twitter's crazy. I mean, Twitter's crazy. It has been crazy. It was crazy. I just joined the river. I'm like, this is crazy. Let's act crazy. But I will say this, when I walked through those doors, security loved me. Most of the reporters were cool with me. A couple, not so much, but in PR, I know respected me. And the reason why they booted me, simple. Asking things that they didn't want asked, talking about things they didn't want talked about, conducting messaging that they didn't want conducted. And that's how they should be. That's their job. They did right. They deserve a raise. Now that's funny. You know, I'm gonna share that with the nephew. Doc checked the minority box. They're like, okay, we got a Middle Eastern guy in here. That's good for a couple of weeks. Now, now we got a couple more on our side. But hey, this is my challenge to you guys. Keep challenging in the comments on their channels for the media to ask tough questions. Keep challenging things to be questioned. They got enough supporters. Trust me, guys. They got enough. They got enough supporters. They'll be just fine. Keep challenging the reporters to ask tough questions. Don't stop those that are in the room to ask, hey, you know, the idea is the mission is to win, and the job of a journalist is to report things that the team does not want talked about in any single form or fashion. And like I said, I'm still working for On SI. um, Eduardo O'Neill, man, your stuff on X, your support over the years has meant the world to us. I wish our media was like the Philly, New York media. Our local media has too many glazers. You held them accountable, and they didn't like that. No, I look at it like, yeah, some of the messaging was direct, but a lot of the questions were straightforward about the team and blunt and what the fans wanted. I don't think that there's a problem. I think more of it was, I think if I percentage wised it, it's 35% of the stuff that I did in the building in the questions, and they didn't like it. But I think 65% is the social media buffoonery that is Detroit Sports Podcasting. But I mean, why would I not do that? It's fun. Barstool Sports, Outkick, big brands that are entertaining. Pat McAfee. We're in the entertainment world. This is sports. You know, if I wanted to be a news reporter, I would have joined, and become a newsman. I wanted to cover sports and laugh and tell jokes and be sarcastic and be provocative and spark debate. I think, I don't know, maybe some of the debates I asked, I don't know the sensational part. I don't know what stories that were already out there were sensationalized that wasn't already out there and not great for the team. I don't know. But I never really cared to know. I just wrote the next story and went to the next topic. I was like a write, move on, tweet, move on. I never reflect. Honestly, guys, I never, like, if they came to me, honestly, if they came to me and showed me a tweet from 2022, I'd be like, oh, damn. I'm a tweet it, move on kind of guy. I don't reflect on my tweets because the whole thesis was, if you think it, tweet it, and whatever happens, happens. I own it. It happened. It is what it is. That was a thesis. And I can't, I can only argue the first con is this from the lines, but there's been 500 pros. 500 pros. So I'll take it. There's been 500 pros. I built an audience, a loyal audience. On Sports Illustrated hired me. The Lions must have been like, what the fuck is On Sports Illustrated doing? They're not looking at me. They're going to erase me off the board. They're looking at On Sports Illustrated going, what the fuck are they doing with him? Here's what the fuck they're doing. Making money. Enjoying good content, being entertained, being provoked. That's what they're doing with me. We don't like On Sports Illustrated's motto. Well, maybe it wasn't for a certain section of the population, and maybe it's not, it never will be. But until this day, the big bosses at On Sports Illustrated are very happy with the DOC. I still, Steve, will never believe that what we do is clickbait. But yeah, maybe they don't want satire entertainment. Maybe. What Sports Illustrated say? They said it happens. So far, let me keep checking the email. Let's see if I get fired live on the air. So far, so good. Or to put it better, the partnership ending. So what do you guys think? You guys follow me. There's 1,200 people in here. Did I do a terrible job? Was I a jerk? Was I a complete moron? Doc, you were just not journalism material. My man Booner, thank you for the support. You know, it means a lot. And listen, I'm such a nice guy. I'm like, hey, guys, the credential status is over. I messaged the guy and said, hey, no hard feelings if you don't need me anymore. And they were like, oh, come on. I don't think I pissed them off. I really don't. I feel like they just view it as, this is a segment of noise that we don't need. I mean, we don't have to need it. They don't have to grant it. Booner told me it was date night, so I think he's out to Booner's getting laid tonight, from my opinion, per sources. Maybe. I don't know if he's still paying for it, but I don't know. Again, see, there's an example. I can't help it. Booner pays for sex. Well, I can't help it. What are you going to do? He told me off the record. Oh man. I mean, no, he doesn't. I mean, it's in the form of dinners and gifts, and exactly. See, someone listening in, an intern going, "Who the hell? What kind of dumb fuck says that on the radio?" That's just how it is. I'm not thinking. I never thought, and I haven't thought. This probably, honestly, guys, um, honestly, since 2013, Eamon's email probably was the first time I thought about anything I ever did at that job. That's how much fun I had. I never thought about it. I'm just doing it, doing the best of my ability, pleasing the audience. Maybe Eamon will get me to think, am I going to change? Fuck no. Fuck no. I'm not unprofessional. I'm not changing one bit. I supported 3 journalists. We have a website. I'm a good podcaster. And maybe the good Lord said, listen, man, keep that money you were spending on gas and use it for more charity that you do. Fuck no, man. The good Lord put me in this position, and I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I walk away only caring about not me. I just care about Emmett, Vito, and Christian. That's it. Giants Nation Show. Shout out. Hey, put in the comments where people can follow your stuff at. Man, you know how much I love football and how much people love football? On the internet, they were critiquing Matt Nagy and John Harbaugh's intro speech. They were like, this does not show leadership. I was like, wow, the level of analysis that we are going to in New York is awesome. They are critiquing Matt Nagy's cadence on a screen. I love it. I want to be a part of it. And maybe it's just like a misaligned marriage. Maybe a podcaster with a big booming opinion and a sarcastic tone is not really a credentialed media member. I need to be a voice. I need to be somebody that speaks his opinion, shares what he knows what he shares, and goes about his business. Maybe it's just a different vibe of what's going on. But like I said, I'm just going to ride this wave. It's been what, 13 years. I'm just going to keep going. Like I said, I wish the man. I said God bless you to his family, and like I said, if you put me in his chair, okay, I would do the same thing. You credential him. The first couple stories that went the way it did for me, you'd say, hey, da da da, the same thing, and then along the way, if a tweet came along I didn't like, I would have been like, hey, we don't like that. That's not journalism worthy. Like, okay, what's that mean? He'd be like, what do you mean you don't know what that means? I'm like, no, I have no clue. You mean you're trying to censor me? You mean that you don't like this comedic angle? You don't like this style of delivery? But now maybe I'll do an internal review, but I'll say this. Every word printed on Lions on SI was reviewed by a journalist, an editor, was looked at. Now, maybe they said, the headline that I put up there, maybe they were never going to say to me, hey, change it. They were never going to question it. But I've had discussions with the guys saying, hey, maybe this headline isn't the best one, modify it. And we changed it. So I was not some nefarious guy off the street not caring about the process. But, maybe, like I said, maybe in my own head, the actions were unprofessional and I kind of revel in it. Who knows? I don't know. I just don't see it as unprofessional. My vision is entertainment, laugh, joke, sarcasm, provoke discussion, have a debate, go to bed, do it again the next day, and write stories. I never looked at it as this is horrific. This is sports. I don't think so. Complain about what? I wonder what junk you're going through. No, the part that was wild was the part that made me like think a little bit. I'm like, I can't remember. They said they had a file on me. We have a file on you. I mean, should I do a FOIA and ask for it? You said this on September 14th, 2023. Be like, oh. Booner and some guy going on a date is not a good topic. Oh my goodness. That's funny. Maybe that is, you know what? If I look at it now from that perspective, um reading comments from fans out loud might not be the best approach for media that are you know, maybe it's not the best idea, but unabashed, I read them. I enjoy them. No apologies. Yeah, you're right. But no, it makes you when someone says, "Hey, you're not in the same group anymore," you think about it. Thank you, Edith. That's really nice. And I suspect that the bad boy of the media will still do podcasts. Will still write for Lions on SI. It's been 2 hours. I have not gotten anything back from the big bosses yet. Other than let me see my messaging here. Again, I view it as some sort of positive, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Like I said, the first feeling I had was relief. I think you brought real diversity to Lions coverage, Doc. There's a segment that wants more conflict in the coverage. Yeah, no, listen. And that's where maybe we'll leave it at this part of the story was I felt reinforced by the support I got online and the readership and the support from the Lions on SI podcast, the growth on YouTube. I felt in some way this is what a certain segment of people who will follow you will enjoy and be yourself. You're fired. I was not fired. They just have revoked the key card. You did fine. You didn't do anything wrong. The Lions, they have standards that they have. Yeah, and I think that's the best thing. A podcaster with a bold opinion and a direct style to challenge people and to be a provocateur, a somebody to question things from a lot of different angles, even from the silly, sarcastic angle, doesn't align with a professional sports credential, which may be a fine thing. All positive so far. Don't tempt me. Don't put silly ideas in my head. Right. They got a file. Here's the file. Look at it. The doc files. Tweets. The doc files. What the hell's in this file? No, they didn't cut me off. I can still cover the team. I can still have access to I can't just go to the facility and talk to players and question people. That's really all I can't do. I can still opine, weigh in, learn. I still have people in the building that will talk to me. It's just the part of the official denial, like going to games and the perspectives afterwards. And I did grow. Now listen, I'll be honest. And this is probably why they could easily do it. I did not at first relish in the opportunity to talk to the players. I just thought, okay, bunch of ego guys, they're trying to hide things. Eventually, at some point, I got better at conducting my business with the players and bringing you guys the stories you wanted. And I'm proud of that. I was very raw at that. And I got better quickly. And I was very proud of the features that I chose to do. I just didn't do a lot of them because it takes a lot of coordination with them. And I don't got that time. Like I only have like a half hour a day of even freedom with my other schedule. So I just never invested in time to say, hey, plan the time to talk to the Lions PR. I just never had time. I just did the job, coordinated, kept it moving, tweeted, kept it moving, did the practice, did the football, and kept it moving. Like I said, the crazy part is if they were to pull out, I mean, I feel like I was owed a little bit more than that, but if they pulled out a tweet from 2023, half of it I wouldn't remember. Oh, because literally, guys, I think you guys know this. The website is a common sports website that talks about everything. My thesis was everything: aggregation, facts, opinions, what people are saying, what they're not saying, what they could be saying. It's everything. That's the website. You guys like it. It was successful. The Twitter page, the thesis was, to be blunt, honest, if I thought it in that moment, no matter how disturbing, stupid, crazy it was, I just wrote it. That was it, and I never thought about it afterwards. Before, during, after, I'd read some comments, go back and forth, tell people, hey, I think that you're being stupid for not believing reporters, for not believing the truth. Hey, this reporter told you this was going to happen. You didn't believe it. I came back and told you, hey, how come you don't believe reporters? How come you don't believe in what people are telling you that know things? So maybe that was too loud. I don't know. It might have been it might be all of the just Dan was like, that was the moment he's out. Dan, cut me over the knees. I don't know. But I'll say this. I wonder if Dan will be like, hey, wait a minute. The guy that sat to the left, where is he? Now, the big question, because of course, hour and a half, I think that's good. Listen, I could talk for 4 hours about me. You guys know that. I want to talk football with you guys, but I want to know your true opinion. Would you want me to change if they came to me and they said, listen, we know kind of your style, your ilk, your mantra. We don't like it. If they came, because you guys know who I am. If they came and said, we will give you the credential if you start acting like this, and they set the parameters of, hey, fact check everything, don't type anything until we confirm it. Wait until we give the news to 10 other people before you do all that kind of stuff, and just follow that style. Easy on the critiques, easy on the 19 interviews a day where you're complaining about 19 different things. If they said that to me, I think I would feel sick to do it, and I probably wouldn't. But should I? I don't think I can change. That's the tough part. That's how it is. Too short for comfort. They said, listen, you are too short, too fat, too ugly to do this job. uh, Hell yeah. 7 a.m. Look for me on, we'll start the day tomorrow. Who knows? I've been on the air. Who knows? But like I said, I am thankful for the people that message me behind the scenes. You know who you are, and I'm very thankful. You're very kind. I am going to be just fine. Remember, I am the founder of Detroit Sports Podcast. It is a living, thriving thing. On Sports Illustrated is still a partner. And if it ends today, if like tomorrow, if after I get off the air, they call me on Sports Illustrated and say, hey, no apologies. I'll say I did the best I could. I don't think it's going to happen. I have stories lined up for tomorrow. Nobody's emailed me. I have a content plan all the way up until training camp. So it's just going to the facility, the drive, talking to the players. I will miss talking to Ahmed Hassanin. I will miss talking to who will I miss if I don't get to go there? I will miss. First of all, let me check here online. I like talking to Ahmed Hassanin. I like the straight shooter guys, the guys that just accepted direct questions answered. I'll miss talking to St. Brown, Derek Barnes. Who else? Derek Barnes, St. Brown, the straight shooters. St. Brown, yeah. The rookies. So we'll see. Right. I should have said, oh no, I just outright flat out denied it. Your argument should have been, I'm semi-professional. The argument should have been what I said. I am not accepting that line. I'm not accepting it. Maybe. All right. So that's that side of it. You can comment on it. We'll see what it means moving forward. Um, the feeling I have, like I said, it was relief. I'm not mad. I got to be on TV today. That was really cool. We talked baseball. I got to talk to Curtis Granderson. Check it out. I'm going to share it on Fox 2. That's funny. I think I did a good job. They asked me to bring some questions and to be part of the banter, and I was. So check out Fox 2 Sports Office. They put me on TV today. That was really cool. And again, even if On Sports Illustrated ends, I'm still going to do the podcast. I love it. I have a thing for it. And again, if my actions now have produced one less person to be a conduit, I'm really sorry. Yeah, like I said, I can only walk away smiling. That's the crazy part about it. You only get cut if you ruffle some feathers. That's it. That's it, man. That's it. That's what you should strive to be. You should strive to walk the line, maybe not jump all the way over it if I did, but you should strive to be somebody that's how I always looked at it. Maybe they heard that line specifically where I said, when I wanted to walk in the room, I wanted them all to go, oh man, we don't know what he's going to talk about. We don't know what that guy is going to do. We don't know. We don't know. And if that's unprofessional, if that's sensational, well, let's get ready because more's coming. Easy. This mofo right here. This mofo. They probably saw they probably saw they woke up today and they're like, Doc's on vacation. They probably like, okay, we're gonna see. Does he do a feature? Does he do a 10,000 word feature on one of our coaches? Nope. The first thing Doc writes on vacation is David Montgomery writing about Easy. They're like, this editorial choice is shitty. This idiot is writing about this idiot. And this idiot got me fired. No, I'm just messing with you. For sure. I think. We'll talk. Hit me up, brother. You know what's up. Man. But like I say, I feel relief, but a guy like me is going to reflect on that word, unprofessional. I think it's just unprofessional journalist in that realm. I was not unprofessional. Edgy. Too edgy for that style of work. But like I said, that's that. I'll reflect on it even more. It's great. The good Lord makes things happen for a lot of reasons, and we'll see what this means for the DOC moving forward. As of now, still on Sports Illustrated and still podcasting, and looking forward to training camp. So, did you guys miss me on vacation? Tennessee was amazing. Yeah, like I said earlier, Easy. My first feeling was relief. Um, yeah, relief. That was the honest feeling, and I think the decision came to be made in a way that could have been done better. Now, if you guys noticed, I was away, but I still did a podcast every single day that was taped. What had happened was before I went to Tennessee, I recorded about 5 podcasts all in a row. Uh, and we went through each position. So for the rest of the show, the rest of the time here, that's that. Currently, no badge for the doc. I'll miss the security there. The security was always nice to me. They always joked. We always had a good time. I will miss that. I liked shooting the breeze with security. I always joke with them that I had inappropriate things in my bag. They never frisked me. They never frisked me. Yeah. And maybe I blame you all. You all encouraged this. You all and your 14 super chats and 1,400 people on a Thursday. That's funny. All right. So what I did was started going through each position, and in a funny way, last week was they waited until a positive week where I had all the good conversations. Uh this week was all great on the podcast. They forgot that part though. They forgot all the praise about the offense, selling tickets, and how great I think the offense is going to be. So here's the deal. We went through in order of the defense, which I had the most concern. So I did start with the negative because that was the most concerning. And we spent this last week talking about the offense, which I think is going to be for your Detroit Lions, going to be spectacular. So we went through the quarterbacks, the question mark with Jared Goff, question marks with the receivers, any issues at hand regarding potentially difficulty feeding all those miles at the wide receiver spot, and now the position that is going to be vital as well for this offense, the running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs' contract is going to be huge. It's going to be a factor that I think I'm curious now that you guys have the most time to think about it. Do you want Gibbs making that $20 million a year? This is funny. Lions denied you, but Jeffrey Rieger still gets in the building. I got to have a talk with him. John, you are a loudmouth, a little gregarious, but I believe your appeal to me was you had my voice about the team that a 43-year-old fan had. Keep it going. BC, Michigan 313. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the part of it that makes you smile is that you're reinforced to be this way. I mean, I just didn't show up and act like this. The fans said, hey, we like it. Be you, do what you got to do, provoke, antagonize, do what you got to do. And it is what it is. Ooh, what do you guys think, chat? Is Jameer, the question mark's going to be who gets paid higher in the contract world, Jameer Gibbs or Bijan? Who accepts the deal first? I think it's going to be Gibbs because I don't know. Does he want to set the market at 21? Does he want to fall in line behind Saquon Barkley, at Saquon Barkley? I feel like he is a guy that is going to be, I feel like the deal gets done. And I feel like Bijan eventually will top it. I feel like it'll be Bijan 1, Gibbs 2, in my opinion. It could go the other way. I think Gibbs is more valuable than Bijan. I think Gibbs is the better player. Sterling Heights Sports Network. Are we just wiping away the Detroit Sports Podcast brand? I'm not going anywhere. Detroit Sports Podcast will never go away. They sure did. Rich Baldwin. Well, I mean, if you want to be semantically 100% accurate, I've been credentialed in 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We put in the application for 26 on a normal basis, and they came back with a no. So the answer is yes. They just didn't grant it for this year. So they really did. They yanked my credential without warning. It was just no. You know, maybe I should. You know what's funny? It's crazy. Um, I am a creature of habit, and so I kind of know when they put out the credential request, and they've kind of been around the same time, around the middle of July. And I'm always feeling like, in my mind, oh, I'm going to miss it because I get 200 emails a day. We like you, we hate you. We like you, we hate you. This is that, this opinion's wrong, this opinion's right. Da, 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 da. Why don't you do this with YouTube? Why don't you come on this? I get a lot of emails, and I always feel like I miss a lot of stuff that's important because I cannot humanly go through the multiple emails on the sports side and the therapy side. So I messaged the Lions and I said, hey, you guys usually send the request out. Did I miss it? And they didn't reply. And I was like, I was halfway on vacation, mentally out of it. They didn't reply. Typically they reply, oh no, I should have known. They would be like, oh no, we're going to send it out next week. They didn't reply. And also too, here's the sick part. It's in my brain. The sick part of me is like, dude, I might be the guy that's known as the guy that's credentials pulled from the Lions because I'm still young and virile at 47 years old. I think I'm going to be successful in sports media. I think the Lions just kicked off the rocket ship. I'm the guy that they booted out the door. I feel like, hey, man, bro, I've already got enough money, bro. I already got 30 interview requests. I've already done the job, Amen. Now you got to make me busier. Amen, brother. Save me. Save me from the burgeoning career I'm about to have. Save me, Amen. Save me. I'm like, shit, I didn't want to go down this road. I'm just a simple psychologist who started a podcast, who kicked his way into the NFL and got booted out. Kicked the door in and they threw me out. Is this going to be bad for me? I don't even know. Like I said, there's a naivete to me I think you guys like. I have no clue if this is good for me, bad for me. I've just been riding the rocket ship full throttle since 2019, agitating. And finally, the people that were being agitated were like, fuck you, leave. You know what I mean? Like I said, I honestly don't even know if this is good for me, bad for me. I kind of like it. I'm the guy that kicked his way into the NFL media world, and I got booted out. What a story, huh? I got to make sure I write Eamon's name right in the book. I talked to this book is going to be great one day. He's going to call me and be like, half of that shit you said was lies. He'll be like, you weren't screaming on the phone claiming you were professional. We had a cordial. Oh, yeah, it was kind of cordial. The embellishments 15 years from now, when I reflect on this story, the embellishments are going to be through the roof. And I threw the phone down and I told Eamon, how dare you cut me off? He's going to be like, that's not how it happened. You know, it's going to be the true doc stories. And I'm going to be like, I walked into his office and said, how dare you? He'd be like, we didn't talk, but over the phone. I sent you an email. You called. And I did thank him in the voicemail. I said, hey, if we never talk again, thank you for the credential. Humbly, thank you for letting me in the door. And I said, I just want to know why. Or I even said, hey, you could suspend me. I don't care. Like, I just don't think that it's fair to go from where we were to what it was. That's all. But the embellished story, oh my God, look back in 15 years, the way I tell the story in 15 years. They just called me nonstop. But anyways, I like to get back to the story of the Lions. But I mean, first of all, okay. Now, okay. If Eamon's watching, the PR, anybody watching, how am I supposed to feel about this? For the last 2 weeks on vacation, and if you just want to know why people act the way they act, all right? Let's just be honest, keep it a buck. Eamon, Lions PR, anybody watching, if you're a journalist or media. I did a thorough breakdown, half an hour a day on vacation of every position, detailed, opinionated, and I'm sitting on the mountains, right? It got 100 likes, 100 views a day. Jack shit in the realm of views. I didn't care. I did that from the bottom of my heart for the loyal readers, the listeners. All right. I get my stupid ass thrown out of the media and there's 1,500 people listening to it. What does that tell you? What does that tell you, Eamon? Okay. And it's just simple as that. You know, I did a thorough breakdown of your football team. Analysis, hardcore opinion. Here's what I think of Goff, St. Brown, da 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 da. 200 people in the offseason. I get it. I'm a nobody, da 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 da. I get my stupid ass in this predicament, and there's about 2,000 people listening to me talk about myself, who people tell me they hate when I talk about myself on the internet, to hear me in this nonsensical, dramatic situation. So if you want to know why people act the way they act, it's pretty simple. I'm a studious of human behavior. This is what people do. This is what they want. Okay? You're not going to spin bullshit to these Detroit sports fans for 50 years, brother. I'm sorry. These are Detroit sports fans. They're pretty smart. We all like a little drama in our life. We all like a little spice. We all like a little flavor. All right? And in order to keep the lights on in this business, I was willing to do what I needed to do. And I just added a little salt and pepper to my chili. My chili was a little bit more 6-alarm fire. A lot of the media in Detroit are like 4-alarm fire. That's the difference. And then the proof's in the pudding. Just go look at the numbers. I broke down the Lions hardcore, and there was a certain audience for that. You're listening to me bitch about having a credential pulled. Thank you. It means a lot. It's cool. And I'm open to talk about anything. I'm an open book, but I'm a podcaster, and that is what happened. I'm the guy. I feel like a little slice of history. I'm the guy who got his credential pulled. It is what it is. What it is. But there's 1,500 people listening to it. How am I supposed to feel about that? If you're listening out there in the audience, it's just an open book. I did the hardcore professional thing for the last 2 weeks. The audience maybe wanted to go somewhere else. This, I don't know why people are hanging on every word and the audience is growing. I have no clue why. Drama. They want to know who the hell is this dumb fuck that got himself in this position. Who the hell knows? But That's the way it goes in the media field. It's the way it's go. It's the way it's gonna be, and it only gets worse. There's more of me than there are journalists because I'm going to tell you, if you're a journalist, throw in a mix of entertainment, bold opinion, unabashed, direct, start your own thing, you'll be fine. That's what all the teams in Detroit do. They try to put pressure on the local media to just run the fluff pieces. Look, they never pressured me. Actually, it's the total opposite. I felt the Lions were, if you want to ask me how I felt I was treated, I felt the Lions were a little out of whack in 2019 in their thought process of the project in terms of the early stories we wrote and the editorial process. But then from the time they realized, holy crap, On Sports Illustrated employs this guy and he's still here. And there's an audience for it. So they don't have a problem with me. They have a problem with On Sport. They have a problem with On Sports Illustrated putting me in this position. So after 2019, I actually, to show them respect, became more of a reporter than I ever wanted to be. I just wanted to be a loudmouth podcaster giving my opinion. I wanted to be Mike the Mag Dog Russo, Mike Valeni, Neil Rule. I wanted to be the best broadcaster I could be. Use my words to speak. That's all I ever wanted to be. I didn't want to be Killer Kowalski. I didn't want to be Mike O'Hara. I read them. Cool. I didn't want to be that. So in 2019, I got put in the position and the team was not happy. We had our couple discussions. On Sports Illustrated supported me and I became loyal to them. Like, wow. An NFL team came down on them and they said, hey, this is just media illiteracy from these fans saying that we reported this. We didn't report nothing. John just aggregated a story and he put it out there. Nothing wrong. So after that, after 2019, they got a little flow of me. And I think that, as the profile grows, more interviews, more things you say, more ways you act, it just kind of revolves, more tweets, more time you spend tweeting and being nonsensical. I blame Chris Spielman. We need you to comment on all Lions posts and ask, what did you do with Doc? Guys, if you're listening in, if it, it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. But I appreciate that. You can do that. 5 of you just, hey, where's Doc? Dear Dan Campbell. He's like, I never was happier than when I started training camp without that fool here. Like I said, in my sick brain, this might be the greatest thing to happen to the Lions organization. Maybe now they finally get over the hump and win a Super Bowl. Man, that would sting a little bit, right? Oh, they win the Super Bowl this year. But I have my little slice of those 8 years if this is the end. We are now about to see this decision about Jahmyr Gibbs. Pay him, not pay him. That's the biggest thing you look at. You go, Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy. Now, I was on Crunch Time, and it was a very good interview, and I think it was a very thoughtful question they asked me about Jahmyr Gibbs, and I know Hefe is not about paying him, and I'm in the same boat. I'm about, paying the same guy the contract that he has and using the NFL tools of franchise tags and keeping him under contract for the next 2 years. Team control, 5th-year option next year. Franchise tag the next year. That's 27, 28. That's 2023, the year he's drafted, 24, 25, 26, 27. That's 6 years of service. Use those monies for defenders in the next year. I know the contract won't kick in fully until 27, but that means in 27, you're not getting defenders. It makes it even more important that you draft well. It puts it ramps the pressure up because otherwise you end up being the Steelers and the Ravens, a good team but never great. And you think I was crotchety before, ending up being the Steelers is terrible. So I am not really thrilled with the idea of paying a running back. I want to allocate it for some more defenders because you already have them under the contract. So, but and also too, we don't know yet the timing of when it takes place. I want to see. You've already put out there that you want to make Jahmyr Gibbs the bell cow. Let's see how he does. First month of the season against the Saints, Jets. What if Aaron Glenn comes in and just puts out there because the NFL is a copycat league? What if Aaron Glenn comes up with a scheme and just totally shuts down Jahmyr Gibbs and a couple teams copy it and now he's just unproductive. He's a 60-yard runner. Offensive line has a little bit of a struggle. Now you've committed to this guy. I want to see a little bit of what it looks like with Jahmyr Gibbs as the bell cow. Am I right? Am I wrong? I want to see before I pay. I want a sample. What's up, Russ? 313 Villain. Russ, I just made the list. Doc just made the list. I made the list. Nobody. Who's going to rat me out? I'm a nobody. I have a Twitter account that's very loud and very stupid. All right. And I've made it known that that's the mission of the Twitter page is to be loud and stupid. And I don't care who's the target of that. Today, for 15 years, I've done this. Today, Jonathan Jones signs with The Athletic. I don't know the man from a hole in the wall, but I saw it. And my first thought was, don't bill your company for the Arizona couples retreat. Go crush it. I tweeted it. I move on. That's what I did not think about the Twitter page. And I don't care what I say either. Did I crush the microphone? Did I get it back? Are the levels better now? I feel like the audio levels are showing up. Look at that. All I did was adjust the wire. Give me a thumbs up. that the levels are showing now that are working. So all I did was adjust this little wire and reset the thing there. Too hot for the internet. No, it's not. I'm not shut down. I will forever own Detroit Sports Podcast. My man, Gun Guy. So, what do you guys think? Jahmyr Gibbs, you now are giving the reins of this offense to this young talent. I think it's going to end up being great, fruitful. I think it's going to be beneficial for this football team and this offense. I think that the productivity is going to be there. I just think you wait to pay. Wait to pay. Is that wrong? I feel like there's a segment of the fan base that's like, it's not my money. Pay it. Pay Gibbs. Pay Laporta. Pay Branch. Pay everybody. AZ Bud Hunter. Probably, right? Listen, I honestly might in a month or two call up Abe and be like, brother, here's some money for your kid, baby. Thank you. You made my life better and easier. You put more money in my pocket and you put my name out there. They found a way into StreamYard and took me out. I still can't believe 1,700 people across 2 platforms. Make sure you smash the like button. This better have 100 likes at least. 50 on YouTube and 1,600 on X. Holy cow. Rich Baldwin's like, see, probably a message like that I flashed across the screen. They're like, this is not professional. Rich Baldwin cost me this. I'm blaming you. I'm just going to deflect it on you. No accountability for me. Just this is Rich Baldwin's fault. But you guys tell me, Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, the other question mark is, which was wild today, but it's been a theme over the last couple days because largely in part due to David Montgomery. That's how I opened year 8 for Lions on SI with a story about David Montgomery sounding off on easy. So here's what happened. Obviously, the decision was made to hand the reins to Jahmyr Gibbs because he's going to get the big money. They view him as a talent. David Montgomery's role in the offense changed. And for whatever reason, and however it came about, whether it was loud or David Montgomery forced his way, or the decision was made from the Lions to part ways with David Montgomery, the trade happened, and you have David Montgomery go to the Texans. But most people thought, well, if you're going to go to the Texans, you should be the number 1 guy. Well, there's some speculation that David Montgomery is now going to split carries with Woody Marks. So naturally, the Lions fans are going to be like, you got yourself out of Detroit to go to Texans to split carries with Woody Marks? How terrible is that? You could have stayed here and split carries with Jahmyr Gibbs. So Easy goes on and reacts to the story and is like, man, you made that decision? Terrible for you. And David Montgomery replied, called Easy and Woodward Sports corny. He said, y'all are a bunch of the corniest people I've seen. I was down with Detroit, and this is how you talk down to me? But I mean, Detroit has a Philadelphia brashness to them, which I can respect and identify. If you're on the Lions, you will get a certain level of support no matter what productivity you have. If you're a good player, bad player, you'll get support. You know, Tom Kennedy is one of the most revered Lions out there, and he's probably going to be a guy that's going to be cut. But the second you get traded, cut, Larkin, the second that you're not part of the Lions, they turn on you quick. We don't want to talk about you. Terry Arnold one day was innocent until proven guilty. The next day, he couldn't cover a bed sheet, a bed mattress. And it happens that quick. I mean, that's common sense. You're with the team, full support. You leave the team, no more support. So many people piled on David Montgomery a little bit, and he replied. So David Montgomery, before Easy's video, put out a statement and said, y'all are going to miss me. Y'all are going to miss me. And people were talking, well, maybe not. So I'll ask you, chat, are the Detroit Lions going to miss David Montgomery in the backfield? Is Isaiah Pacheco good enough to get the short yardage, to get the 15, to offset Jahmyr Gibbs' 15 touches a game? I think Isaiah Pacheco will be serviceable, but I'm not sure Pacheco could be qualified as an upgrade over David Montgomery. You might be just slightly not as good. So that's the key. First of all, can one in the comments after the show is done, can the bell cow Jahmyr Gibbs be successful and stay healthy throughout the process? Two, is Isaiah Pacheco going to make people forget about David Montgomery? And what is your reaction to David Montgomery saying? What's your reaction to David Montgomery saying, y'all going to miss me? The Detroit Lions are the only non-expansion NFL franchise that has never appeared in a Super Bowl. The fine folks at Goodnut are going to have to work on you on this little situation you found yourself in. Everyone go email Chris Spielman. Riley, are you sure? Are you sure you're seeing the tweets? In the role that he played last year, no. But in 2024, yeah, you're going to miss David Montgomery. But as you get older, is a 29-year-old David Montgomery going to be doing anything for the Texans? Right, Steve. I think that's where my brain goes like, hell, just do a 4-hour show and become big. Listen, I was happy. I was content, maybe too content. You know, like I said, I honestly, Since 2013, I haven't thought much about what I tweeted or what I said on this. I just said it, did it, wrote it, put it out there, and kept it moving. And so I think that's where my emotional regulation comes in, is that I can't control if the Lions give me your credential or not. And maybe even a part of my subconscious was like, yeah, you're a shit talking podcaster. They're not going to like you. And I think I already knew that. So it was like, I felt like an equal footing, but I felt like there was at least a respect of like, okay, listen, you're a nuisance, but you're our nuisance. It's kind of how maybe my brain looked at it. Like you're still a Lions fan. You're still a Lions guy. You still bring something. You're a nuisance, but I looked at it like, yeah, I'm a nuisance media member. You know, that's kind of how I perceive it now. With how this happened, I'm kind of, right now viewing it like maybe I was a nuisance dickhead. Maybe, but I always thought like, it was the media, not me. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what media does. They poke, they prod, they annoy, they make it so that the PR guy's like, what the hell is this idiot saying today online? What's he saying? Is it real? Is it not? You know what I mean? But um, I didn't think that they were thinking of wanting to dispose of me. That's all. Now I know. He is the assistant to Sheila, and let me get the title here respectfully here. Oh, and I also made fun of Rod Wood, so that didn't help. Sensationalize maybe the Rod Woods, the stuff I wrote about Rod Wood. Maybe that one probably wasn't a bad wasn't a bad one. I wrote about Rod Wood. I think I said, what was that maybe that was a little sensationalized. Let me look up the headline here. That one wasn't the best one. Yeah, maybe that one might have did it too. Oh, I wrote Rod Wood can't leave Detroit soon enough. Maybe if I look at it, maybe that one didn't win the organization over too much. I don't know, but I think I wrote it as an opinion, and it did well. Emotionally, we will miss him, but Pacheco, courtesy of AZ Bud Hunter, Pacheco will fill the role we need. Demo was bigger than the role we were willing to give him. Yeah, 100% exactly right. Y'all are funny. Rich Baldwin coming in here with some jokes. He actually, the way in which he's described it is he's kind of been a servant. Like whatever the organization needs, help out here, helping teach the fans a little bit about football, teaching how to bridge the two buildings together, Ford Field operations and Allen Park, also worked out. So his job is to serve the owner, do what it takes, learn a little bit about everything. That's his open book status that he's got. That's the deal. That's the facts. Simple story to recap. Every year, you apply for a credential. And in 2019, they said yes. And every year it's around this time because training camp starts in a week. 19, they said yes. 20, they said yes. 21, they said yes. 22, they said yes. 23, they said yes. 24, they said yes. 25, they said yes. 26, they came back with a big fat no. And to recap, I found out the news at 3:55. I made a phone call. I had a discussion with the team. And I made my point of view to say, hey, my 2 points were I am not unprofessional. And two, I would have felt a common courtesy of a message or a simple, hey, you're walking a fine line here of the way in which you conduct yourself. They never did any of that. Ever. I got a couple emails in 2019, and for the last 7 years, it's been pretty clean. Do your job, tweet, write, opine, entertain, provoke, talk. I never got a word. That's all I complained about was I think you owed me at least a message. One message, just one. And if I would have crossed the line after that, you have every right in my book to do what you got to do. Like I said, my opinion is I 100% disagree with their reasons. I a million percent understand why. Million percent. You don't need people like me at all. In some way. But Steve, my honest reaction was relief. I read the email and like a sense of relief kind of hit me. It was weird. I felt like a all right. I'm still a reporter. On Sports Illustrated loves me. I know my standing for now. Let me check. I've been checking my email now. I'm gonna check my email religiously. But like I said, I felt like I felt fair in how I conducted myself. I felt fair. And so I'm pretty happy. Let me just go through some Twitter reactions here too. Thank you, Steve, for saying it's not right. Thank you, TFIO. Love the team for decades. With that said, the Lions organization is undeniably a cowardly shit show, and pulling SIXs is just another example. That's really nice. Someone on X put, "What if they censor you and you can't tell your thoughts at 8:30?" No, I was always going to tell you my thoughts. Did anybody see me chit chatting a little bit on Fox 2? Oh, that's right. That's right. Wednesday, 11:30. All right. I can have my spot forever. That's funny. But like I said, to recap, credential not granted. I still am partnered with On Sports Illustrated. Still will do a daily podcast. I'm still going to be part of the Detroit Lions community and still going to talk about opine with the team. I still listen. I mean, in the end, people are going to text me things. I have two phones. I've already implanted myself in the job. And now I'm the bad boy of the media. I'm going to talk about it for the next 2 weeks. I'm the bad boy of the media. But the truth is, obviously the hyperbolic nature of the discussion, I'm the bad boy of the media. But the truth is, it just may not be a good fit for me either to go there and be part of that spin cycle type stuff. I'm an honest bird. I don't need to spin in my life. Next, Pat Caputo. No, man, he's a legend. I just kept it real and was more loyal to the fans. Y'all cost me this opportunity. I'm blaming you. This will end up being a blessing in the long run. Stay strong, Doc. It will work out. Right. Rob Parker every year puts Dan Campbell on the hot seat, says all these things. You see Deion Dawkins on the St. Brown podcast saying who when Jared Goff was mentioned. Bro didn't even know who our QB1 was. I did not. I saw where they were talking about um they were talking about um the celebrations and stuff. So the family is wishing me a good evening. Yes, sir. Smash that like button. But I'm curious about your thoughts on the running game. I feel like that's the engine for this football team to thrive. Dan Campbell says, run the football, run the football. That's the way it's got to go. So I like the opportunity for the running backs to have success, but it's going to be incumbent upon, from our talk yesterday, the um the offensive line doing what they're told and operating in a manner in which they're professional. So I'm excited for the opportunity to see the running game give the team an opportunity to be able um to give the team the opportunity to get some play action back, deep passes, opens up things, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs can do a lot of things out of the backfield. So I see big things. I just want to keep him on the same contract. Don't let it be my issue. Brian Welsh says, you know, when organizations in trouble, whenever they need to silence independent thought. Well, no, see, they didn't silence me. They just, the thought popped in my head. They didn't silence me. They just said, you know, here's the story. Here's the analogy. Okay. And here's the story. And here's how I'm going to tell it. I was a season ticket holder. They took a lot of my money. I found no value in being a season ticket holder. They lost and they lost and they lost. 6 years, I saw 5 wins maybe. All right. The season ticket run is over. From the 2002, I think, 2003, I was a fan that paid money. So I was a casino gambler. I walked in, sucker. What is this blackjack game you called blackjack? What is this casino game you call blackjack? Oh, ace, ace, double, hit, one. No clue. Give him my money. All of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute. There's a strategy here. Start a podcast. You can talk sports, have fun, learn, become a member of the media. I am still a member of the media. I am a disbarred member of the media. But I walked up to the blackjack table and said, F y'all, casino. I have the edge. I'm going to start counting cards. And all of a sudden, bam, I know when the 10s are coming. Boom, ace, 10, blackjack, boom, double down. My first bet's 5. Oh, I know that it's in my advantage. 45, 500, 600. And all of a sudden, day after day after day, win, 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 win. And they're like, damn, this guy's winning. The Lions kept looking, going, wait a minute. This guy's winning. How's he employed 3 people? The media business is crushing. How's this guy smiling all the time, laughing all the time? This guy's walking in here like he owns the place. Smiling all the time, employs 3 people consistently, making a lot of money. What the hell's going on? This guy has no talent. He's a hack. He's an unprofessional buffoon. How's this guy making more money than all the journalists? So they started looking into the process, And they said, "Holy shit, he's counting cards." And they walked up to me after 8 years of wins, and I racked up all this bankroll. And they're like, "Sir," they walk finally after 2025. And after 2019, the wins were like 200, 300. By 2025, the wins were like 400K. They're like, we can't have you make 400K a night. Excuse me. The casino boss who knocked on the door. The casino boss came up to me as I was sitting at the table making my bets. And now I'm different. I'm not the guy that's just sitting there betting. I got the whole table. I'm like, hey, I'm the Dana White, like, hey, come on over here. Here's how you bet $1 million. Here's $1 million chips. Here's how you bet against. I'm making videos on how to beat the casino. And I'm all on top of the world, just like making 600K a night. And they're like, wait a minute. This guy has left us with $7.8 million. Holy shit. Something's wrong. So the casino pit boss finally walked up to me and said, "Sir, we're going to need you to step your dumb ass away from the table. We're going to need to walk your stupid ass away from the table." "Why? You never mentioned anything." "Your business is not wanted here anymore. We think that we don't need you to play here anymore." So it's simple as that. I was a big winner, a huge winner in this. And I think they just need a little bit more uh, calm, boring ass work day in and day out. They didn't need the loud casino guy who brought a camera in and acted like how I acted. And that's fine. And that's fine. I can walk out the casino going, you know what? Motherfuckers, I did my part. Yeah. No, I think everybody already knows that. See, here's the difference. Those guys that are in the media are beholden to they need that. I'm fine. Like, they are not going to act like that because I think they could foreshadow that. Like, they would be the guys in the room are professional. They would get their $200 win, button up their shirt, smoke their cigarette, and go out the door. They're not tweeting their wins. They're not tweeting their losses. They're not making a big spectacle of the whole thing, top to bottom. They're just taking their $300 and walking out. And once they said, "Holy cow, he's going to start using words like luscious sources everywhere." That's funny. What up, Doc? Extra trim. Good to see you. Phil C. Always good to see you. Thank you for the 14 super chats. Holy cow, that 2.5 hours flew by. You guys are into this, huh? Now, again, all I can do is be beholden to the audience. I did a preview series, and there's like 2,000 people listening in to me talking about this scenario I found myself. I asked the question, are the Lions censoring the media? Matt Patricia era for sure, says John T. But Sheila and Brad and Dan doing this? Never in a million years. Paint Man says all Detroit media plays nice for access. If any media points out anything negative, no access. Makes GM's jobs and coaches' life easier. You literally have to set the house on fire to get fired. I just think it's crazy. I can see where people misunderstood the tweet. So I wrote a tweet. It said, "I'm an open book. Detroit Lions can't handle the doc, so they disinvited me on the day I made my live television debut." No, that was separate, meaning that I was so happy riding high that I got on television. That was kind of a personal little goal of mine, that on the same day that I was preparing and doing my research, they sent me the email to take away the credential. So I've still got to be on TV. So might be the highlight of the opportunity. It's always sickening, says 515 Earl. Listening to the after game presser questions like, Coach, is it true a team that scores more points wins the game? And do you think that's true? I think, yeah, somebody asked me this question, and I kind of don't want to be disrespectful, Phil. Phil C, my man. No. Do you think I need one? Because I am one. uh and maybe that also clouded your judgment because I have a whole other profession that I'm very proud of. The work I've done with athletes to keep them mentally stable, to keep people engaged, to keep people on the positive side of life. Like I said, I don't feel at this point in time, even though this is probably a big deal, I feel no sense of sadness. Like I said, the feeling I have is relief. I'm kind of questioning myself, like I should be sad about this, but I'm a big believer in God. It's something I can't control. All I could do is apply. And if the Lions don't want me, I respect their decision. But I'm definitely not going to sit there and be called unprofessional to my face. That's not going to happen because I just feel it was nonsensical entertainment that you see on X that is done by millions of people every single day. Maybe not with the credential. Maybe you got to have that little bit of a buttoned up presentation, and I'm coming in a little bit different style that they don't want. And maybe that's just the way God wanted it to be. BC Michigan, do you think Gibbs will run more to the left? It always seemed his big runs were always to the right side. That's a good question. And I can see the link you're making to Panay Suicide. Yeah, you run to Panay Suicide. Absolutely. The Lions zone run scheme has been, I think, proficient, but it requires communication, execution, consistency. I'll be honest. I think that, you get into this little chess game, BC Michigan. It's always interesting, right? Where the defensive coordinator is going to know that the Lions might want to run to the left. And it's kind of like one of those deals where the Lions know that the opposing defense knows that they might want to run to the left and they might still run to the right behind Tate Ratledge and the gap on the outside with Blake Miller if he's the winner. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like that little chess game. I know that you know that I know that we could try this so we could do something different. I want to see, because of how good Cade Mays is, I want to see, does he develop a little bit in his run blocking and can they run up the middle a little more? Tougher runs between the tackles. I mean, if you're paying Jahmyr Gibbs $20 million, I'm going to need him to run between the tackles pretty strongly all across the board. So I kind of think that that's the natural inclination to what you have. So I think that they still were going to go to the right and just have Blake Miller execute it. What do you think of this name, Doc? The Steve O Baby Podcast. I don't know. The Steve O Baby Podcast. You like it? I'm just thinking, will other people like it? If you love it and you identify with it, you go with it and you go with it strong. But I don't know. I think bolder. Don't use your name. Think bolder. I would not go with that. That's my first thought. Patty, good to see you. I'm really sorry to hear about this. I know it stinks, but you know what? Like I said, God works in mysterious ways. I felt relief. Maybe God was like, you know what? You've been thinking about this career for a long time. You've been putting in all that effort to drive down there. It's a big drive too. I live 50 minutes away from the facility, 31 miles. One little accident on 94, and I'm late to a presser. I haven't been late to too many. The one thing I'm gonna be sad is I occupied that seat in the front row to the right for a good 5 years. Who's gonna take it? I had the same seat for a good 5 years, 22, 23, 24, 20. And here's the funny part is I started in the back. I took the first year quiet, didn't say a word, just listened in, was like, what the hell is this? This sucks. The whole experience sucked, but I kept at it and I learned a little bit what to write. And then Dan Campbell came in. His vibe was different than Matt Patricia's vibe. Matt Patricia's vibe made no sense. And look, guys, also too, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but look, there's one seat, right? Okay, think about this. I have one seat, and there's limited space. The Lions don't have an expansive media room. Miss Sheila, now that I'll be unabashed a little bit, you can expand the media room a little bit, let more people in. Maybe spend a little money and make that room a little bigger for these people, you know? But there's a lot of room, but you could make the room a little bigger, a little more less cheap, a little more technologically savvy. And I think you could fit another 15 people in there legitimately. But you can't. The room fits, I would say, 50 people, 50, 60-ish. You got the television, the radio. Each outlet has 4 or 5 spots. So I occupy a seat. And I haven't really thought about it this way. But let's say a new outlet's formed and they want to be ultra boring and ultra rah rah, go team go, fanboy type. It would probably behoove the Lions to give them 2 seats and start brooming out others, bloggers or other type of media, and to facilitate a different makeup of the room. So that's how I would look at it. And I think that's how they should look at it. That was not me. That was not me, thankfully. So yeah, that's how I look at it. Is you say, okay, you look at the seats, you look at the map layout, and you look at like the wedding, right? You look at the wedding and you go, oh, we're not going to put him next to him, next to him. That we'll just take him out, just invite him. So who's going to be reporting what happens in training camp? Well, the other great fine outlets out there that you support. And I will be reporting on what happens in training camp. You don't think it's not going to be a big secret. People will tell me. I appreciate you, BC, Michigan. Hopefully, yeah, I think that's the scenario in which I see things. Hmm. We're going to talk about that, in the coming days. How did the division shake out? No, listen. Um, security was always nice. They won't be so nice if I pulled up without a badge that first day. I will be bummed out that first day, that first morning, but you know, all I can do and all I vow to do is just keep working, keep writing, keep creating content, keep creating videos, keep doing podcasts. So what's going to happen? I guess that's the best way to put it. I mean, this is crazy. First of all, thank you. To have 2,000 people, 2,000 on X and 70 on YouTube. Smash the like button. To have you guys interested in this and to grow over 2 hours and a half, that's cool. But I'm just going to do more videos. I'm gonna put my head down and go to work out, and I'm just gonna talk about it. Like I said, that's my big problem is you're a talker, you talk. And like I said, I don't even know. I know the guy said, "Hey, this part was confidential. That part was I don't know. I don't think I revealed too much other than he gave me the reason why. I understood it. I just recap. I applied for a credential for the Detroit Lions for the 8th year in a row, and this time around they said no. It's a yearly thing. They don't want my style anymore. I think they just made this situation so much better for me in a lot of different ways. But I just denied two things that they said. I am not unprofessional, and I would have liked the professional courtesy of just a one message over 7 years that they didn't like what I was doing. One, just one. They never. They kept the file. They kept it to themselves. They never once after 2019 they messaged early on, tried to yank the chain, but my bosses were supportive, and they said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's being portrayed about John is not even accurate. We didn't report anything. He aggregated a story. This is normal procedure in the media world." And they supported me. And I think they'll on Sports Illustrated would support me again. So, um, like I said, if you in the chat, was I unprofessional on social media? Was I sensationalizing the work that I was doing over 8 years? I don't view it that way, but I could see maybe how the outside different views it that way. But like I said, how I view it is real simple. I was a blackjack player. I understood the landscape as a losing player, and I learned how to become a winning player, and I won in the media game. And the Lions figured out maybe how I won or what I was winning or what I was doing. But um what is it what is it they say? Your money is no longer good here at the casino. Thank you. Take your service elsewhere. You're no longer welcome. You're blacklisted. Man. But like I said, the feeling I had was relief. It was like a little weight of like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And like I said, I have a remember too, if the media thing just ends, um, I have a whole other professional life too. So maybe that was the safety net I felt I had was well, whatever happens, happens because I'm a therapist and I have my own business. I have two different businesses running at the same time. So, like I said, what I'll do now, so then what does that mean? I'm just going to do more content on YouTube, more content on Detroit Lions on SI. We will still cover the team. We'll still opine. You still have a voice. But the truth is now you have to bother the others to ask those questions and you have to use your voice. Here's my recommendation because obviously I listen to y'all. Use your voice, go on social media and in the comments, in the chat for the Lions, when you see Dan Campbell being asked the dumbest questions, go in the chat and say, I want this asked. They will listen. I acted this way because you guys read the stories. You read the Twitter. You engaged in the debates. You were part of the process. You grew, like I said, the proof's in the pudding. The Facebook grew steadily, real fast. So, so use your voice. It's powerful. Like I said, you put listen. Your voice is powerful. I'm just a little spoke in the wheel. You use your voice to put me in there. Now you do the same thing. Meaning you support what happens is here's how the process works and maybe they're scared shitless that this is how it's going to go for the next 20 years because they know the next 20 years of people that are going to apply are not going to be journalists. They're going to be large influencers that create content with big followings that are hired by ESPN and CBS and on Sports Illustrated. And so here's what you do. You find a person that you feel is a voice of reason, a voice that you want to hear, and you support them, you grow them big, and you hope those people are take a chance to join bigger companies and have the platform to be able to. Remember, I wasn't a newspaper. I wasn't a legacy media outlet. I was just a regular podcaster that worked on Sports Illustrated. And really in the end, it's a website. And they took a chance on it. They were like, oh, they probably sat around their meeting and were like, what good decisions did we make? Oh, yeah, we got a lot of fanboy pages. They're growing good. We like this. Ooh, this guy's loud and obnoxious and brash and acts like he doesn't care. And they put him in. They're like, why the hell would they're literally saying, why the hell would Sports Illustrated hire this fuck? And the answer was simple. Just a regular guy, built an audience. Sports Illustrated liked the audience, and they liked my work ethic. They liked my professional nature. They liked the fact that, hey, this guy's not exactly boring. He's interesting, and he can keep a conversation going, and he is also easy to work with. Meaning, you don't think On Sports Illustrated has messaged me a couple times and said, hey, what do you think about this idea? They have never forced me to write a single thing. It's a collaborative approach. And they've said, hey, these are some ideas that work as storylines, and here's some ideas that here's some things that we'd like you to also address in your coverage day to day, opinions, podcasts, videos. Try these things. And we worked in collaboration. I never once said to them, bite me. I never once said to them, I'm the big bad doc. It was collaborative. But the Lions didn't probably feel that the long-term investment in doing that with me was gonna pay off or was worth it or whatever. The only complaint I have, don't call me unprofessional. Don't act like you warned me ahead of time. It was just one and done. Eric, or I would say I was owed one message. One. Eric, the Detroit Lions, it's funny to say it over and over. It's kind of more relief I feel. I applied for a credential and they said no. No cred for you. And they called me unprofessional. To my face. Not face to face, but they informed me of their thoughts, and it was fine. It was fine, other than I disagree with that notion. It's different. It's just different. That's all. Non-traditional. It's just non-traditional for a media member to act like a fan, to throw out every single idea in his head, no matter what came to his head. So technically, I didn't lose it. I was not approved this year. Not approved this year. So technically, if you want to, okay, so this is where kind of the word salad gets in if you write and report things. Technically, okay, if you want to be factually technical, my credential, it's a year-to-year thing, and they have to grant it every year. And they did not grant it this year. And they probably will never grant it ever again. Start with the slow stuff. Banned from training camp. It might be a good thing. Who the hell knows? Like I said, I feel like it's a good thing. It's the craziest part of the brain. The craziest part of the brain that thinks it's a good thing. Who the hell knows what's wrong with me? Like I said, everyone else may think, see, this is what happens. I look at it like, you know what? Blessing in disguise. And maybe, just maybe, you can't have a real one doing this in that sense of the way a credential should happen. But maybe, like I said, maybe the bottom line is maybe I was unprofessional. I just don't know what it is because I acted the same way for 15 years. You just, it would come across that way if you just, the thesis was whatever comes to your head, just spit it out. But again, I was rewarded for doing it. So that's why I did it. The Twitter page grew. I mean, literally, how, if the outside, if I can analyze them, if they want to analyze me, why would I not do it? I grew from nothing, from 0 followers to 50,000 on X. helped to be part of a Facebook page that has 100,000 followers. This thing took off in a year. We just put money into it. Now it's got 12,000 followers. Everything that we've done has said to act this way. So, um, that's all I can say for my defense. My defense, John, are you unprofessional? I was rewarded by the fans of the Detroit Lions to act this way. And that's the bottom line. I was rewarded, and I never felt a different viewpoint to take over to act differently. And like someone said in the comments, I might have lost followers. I might have just been another fake news media member to some if I just acted that way. I think people liked, and like I said, I thought people liked it. I thought that it was a unique, refreshing, like, hey, this guy's like whoosh, a refreshing guy to talk about the Lions. And I'll say this. I think this is Eric again. Forgive me if I have the wrong fan, and I'm horrible with names. And this is you're the fan I met, right? And I'll say this. You know, if it was you or not you specifically, the one thing I'm very proud of is over time, people would DM me and I replied to 98% of them online. And I believe Eric had said, hey, I'm at the game and da 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 da. And I'm like, sure, I'm in the press box. I'll come down and I'll say hi and we'll talk and take a picture. And if it was Eric or somebody else, and it was great. It was like, oh, okay, this is what it's cool. People know who you are. They start to develop the connection. They know who you are. He puts his arm around me. And this is the way I'm going to end this show today. I meet him. I come down from the press box, and with the press box, I'm working, like I'm typing, I'm working, and I got all these things. And he's like, "Yeah, Doc, we've had conversations on DMs, which I've had with a lot of you, and I hope to keep it going." Puts his arm around me and goes, "Man, you're shorter than I thought you were online." And I'm like, "What do I say to that?" I'm like, "You're activating all my insecurities." And yeah, I'm not a big monstrous guy. I'm a little engine that could. And it was funny. You know, you're a lot shorter than I thought you were. And I'm like, man, yeah, I do. I was like, I thought about uniquely typing that and being like, if you ever meet, if you ever meet me, I'm gonna wear elevator shoes and I'm gonna be taller. But I thought that was cool to have that with a lot of you on here. And it was cool to meet with you and talk with you guys and all that fun stuff. But yes, I am shorter than I would appear in photos and videos, and I'm not a larger than life figure. I'm a regular short little dude, old guy. But no, no, that's the part that sucks. Is the part that truly sucks is they kept a file of me. Who the hell keeps a file on someone without telling them about it? Look, and they sent it to me. They kept this file. Okay, I'm kidding. This is not my file, but they kept a file on me. It's like, we have kept a file on you over the last 8 years. They kept a file about what? Tweets, headlines. They're like, these are all the complaints we had about you. These are the complaints that all these people said. He's brash. He acts like he knows it all. He's this, he's that. They kept a file on me. They kept a file. And okay, fine. Fine. The doc files. What the hell's in it? Well, I don't know what's in the doc files. I don't know. Like I said, my stance has always been open. I just think it. I'm not thinking a lot. I'm just reacting live, doing the best version of possible. They kept a file on me. Who keeps a file on a reporter? What, of all the dumbass tweets I have? I'm sorry, man. Delete that. It's nonsense. It's fleeting. None of it is. It's what kind of nonsense did I tweet? You kept a file on me? I'm honored. The doc files, baby. You kept a file on me of what? We have a file on you. Okay, well, I should have asked nicely, like, hey, could I see the file? Or I was like, you know what? That's kind of cool. in my head at the time when I was hearing that. Um, but at the same token, if you're, I mean, I'm kind of in that mindset of you build a file when there's like four things in it. Maybe you go, okay, let's like bring them in for a meeting. Like, hey, John, like, look, what are you doing? Like, don't you want to learn? Don't you care? What are you doing? I'll be like, listen, I'm a little bit open. I've built a podcast to have 200,000 weekly listeners, and it's grown. And Doc and Jock has been successful. We're a little bit rugged, raw. On Sports Illustrated looked at our numbers and they bought the podcast, and they wanted me to cover the team. And I'm just, my thesis is I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and just tweeting stuff and being entertaining and living and just going with it. And I would have said, is it you know, vastly different than McAfee, vastly different than the critics, vastly different than the Mike the Mag Dog Russos who have a big platform, the Howard Sterns of the world. I'm like the Mike Valenti's. Mike Valenti is a partner of the Lions. He's on the channel. He's on the radio station that works with the Lions. His audience is bigger on a daily basis than I am. I'm like, I'm not doing anything that's different than anybody else to the degree that I felt it would be an issue. So, but if they would have talked to me, I might have toned it down. I might have added the other side of professionalism or the other slice to go with the wild Twitter page. But who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I just would have been like, knowing me and my dumbass, I would have been like, yeah, right, and just gotten mad, and they would have thrown me out right then and there. So, but listen, again, if you know the doc, I thanked them humbly in the email. I thanked them humbly in the voicemail. Thanked them humbly face to face. Thanked them humbly in the phone call conversation that we had. And I stood up for myself. That's all you can do. They don't want the doc anymore. But this could open up new opportunities for the true love of podcasting and reporting on a different level, and we'll see what happens. But that's 3 hours. That's the energy I had for this. Again, all I can do is, if you want to hear the defense of it, I did 30 minutes a day on vacation. Smaller audience. Hearing me getting boned by the Lions, 2,500 people want to hear that. That's craziness at the highest level. But this was the Lone Wolves podcast. And I think I am actually now a lone wolf. I am the first of this group out of the flock. But I think, like I said, I feel good. I feel relief. Like Wednesday morning, I'm not battling. Like the part of getting there was cool. The part of the drive and 94 at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. was not cool. I don't even know if I was ready for that. Maybe God just said, okay, we're going to steer you in a different direction. Like I said, maybe I come out ahead, maybe I don't. But I feel good. I feel relieved. And you guys made me feel better. That's what I come here for. And hopefully I do the same for you. Hopefully you're like, I don't know. That's the part. I honestly think that it's not one thing, that over time, the Dan Campbell question, the noise, the growing thing that is going to be me is a little too much for that aspect of the job. It's just too much noise. And it's noise maybe that they just don't want to answer, especially given that they're going to have multiple outlets that think that being a slappy is the best way to go, which it isn't. So, and I just think that that makes sense. I think that trying this is in their best, that they think it's in their best interest, but I feel like, oh my God, I'm the guy that got banned from the Lions. I think that's a little lower forever. And who knows, maybe tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to keep checking the emails. I still think I'm a partner with On Sports Illustrated. They have not messaged. I have not been crazy online. I just said, hey, this is what happened. Full transparency. They denied my credential. That's all that happened. And like I said, I don't know if I want it. That's the best part. I don't even know if I want it. That's what, like I said, I don't know why I felt relieved. I don't know if I want it. I'm a reporter, podcaster. No regrets, no apologies. The only thing that would bother me if in any way Vito, Christian, and Emmett are affected in any way by this negatively, I will be bummed out, which I don't think it's going to happen because you guys, I think on a daily basis, all I can ask is come here, support the Lone Wolves podcast, chit chat with somebody that you know fell on the sword for the way he acted, and we'll see where it goes. But like I said, we're at 12,000 subscribers. Training camp is going to be fun because I can be live very fast. I can be live twice a day. There will be probably more of me. So, like I said, here's me taking the high road. Thank you, Detroit Lions, for opening the door to me. You never had to do it. You were wrong probably for doing it, but in the end, you opened the door for non-traditional sites like podcasts to cover the team in the way in which it's different, but also valuable to your supporters. Remember, I truly believe that there will be more of me than there will be journalists in 5 years because I'm going to tell you now, the message is clear. If you want money, financial stability, and if you're an up and coming reporter, the idea is not to go to journalism school and write for a newspaper. You will beat your head against the wall. You will be miserable. You will be like the people I saw in 2019. I looked at that and said, I don't want to be that. Start a podcast, start your own platform, your own voice, your own blog, your own website, grow it to wildly successful, have a CBS Sports, have an athletic, find you, do your work, and you rent yourself out or license yourself out to somebody else, like a McAfee. Remember, just look at it. Just look at the world in front of you. Journalists with millions of years of experience are getting whacked. I saw that early. And first of all, I blame the Lions because they exposed me to the miserable journalists that were sitting in the room in 2019. They all looked rough. And I said, I don't want to be that. I want to be happy. I want to pay my friends and do the things that I want to do. And I want to come out ahead. So that's what I did. And so, my humble advice, if you want to be in the sports media world relevantly, become a content creator, podcaster, voice of opinion, and develop a strong following with a strong voice and some level of facts, entertainment, writing creatively, and you'll have a voice, a big voice. If you're willing to go down the road of where this business is going, that's just the way it is. And today, I humbly welcome myself into the world of a journalist. I am now a journalist. Now, I will stand up, even though I have no journalism degree, even though I think most journalists will hate me. I am now a journalist, and I'm very happy. I got thrown out in some weird way. I don't know why I'm laughing at this. Because to me, my brain says, John, you did the job right. You rattled the cage, and they can't handle you. You damn right they can't handle me. I'm not in a box. Nobody's controlling me. You can't handle me. What happens next? We shall see. I hope you support it. But if this is the last one, this was a good one. And I don't think so. But anytime now, like I said, I have a partnership with On Sports Illustrated. It's year to year. There was no factor of me not having a credential in that. So we shall see how it moves forward. But man, I feel good. I'm going to sleep in on Wednesday, create some good content, talk about the Lions, and we'll have a podcast every single night. We'll have a recap of what's going on at training camp. I'll tell you what people tell me, and we'll have conversations. And maybe if you guys fight for it, yeah, talk about it. Go, wait a minute, why would they throw you out? Maybe I probably, in the meantime, should find out what I tweeted. I mean, there's 200,000 of them. What did I write? Like, I don't think honestly, if you guys look back, you can be a sleuth on me. What did I write? What did I sensationalize? What was it that what's in those files? Tomorrow, we'll have fun with it. It'll be what do we do? We did running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, offensive line. Tomorrow we'll do some tight ends. But what's in the files? What the heck did we cover that was so controversial? That was so crazy. What's in the doc files? Tomorrow on the Lone Wolves podcast. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to enjoy some WWE Unreal, read the story about, look what happened. Look what happened to independent voices. What happens is if you get too big, they want to, WWE partnered with Busted Open. They're like, hey, you get too big. We just want to buy you. The same thing happened with ESPN and NFL Network. NFL and ESPN are partners. How's that supposed to be journalistic coverage? So we'll see. Luscious sources. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the 14 super chats. That means a lot. It's an awesome day, man. I think it's an awesome day. Let me know. You guys can tell me. You can be honest too. Like I said, I have my thoughts on it. If it's crazy, let me know. But I think my day starts early tomorrow again. 7 a.m. I think I'll be on a podcast. Again, Riley, hit me up now. Charge up my phone. And we'll start talking about this all throughout the day tomorrow. Who the heck knows, man? This is going to be wild. Let's see what happens moving forward. But as of now, I'm still the doc. I'm still the same guy. I'm the doc, John Maakaron. I co-founded the Detroit Sports Podcast with Adam Straczynski back in 2013. I am a partner with On Sports Illustrated, and they're a great sports partner, and they support for now what the heck I've been doing. And then please also outside of this, this is great. I was on TV today, so I know, of course, that's how God works for me. Is highs of high for a guy like me. Didn't even talk about it. The highest of highs being on TV from where I was. I'm a nobody to this. That's life. But remember, you saw how I acted over 3 hours. Not sad. I'm not desolate. I kind of feel like this was maybe the path that it should be for me to be where I could be. Let's see what happens. I'm the doc, John Maakaron, and I just was thrown out of the Detroit Lions media. What does that mean? Let's find out tomorrow. See y'all.